Hey, Podcast America. Welcome to episode... Shit, Mike, what episode is this? 15?
This is 15.
This is number 15. And before we get into the show notes, we're going to talk about Allegiance Holsters. They are a small family-owned business in North Carolina, and they carry inside the waistband, outside the waistband holsters for your concealed carry needs. They also, more importantly, if you are not a gun person, that's understandable. They have individual first aid kits, which are pre-packaged, vacuum-packed, handy-dandy little first aid kits that you should have everywhere in your life, in your glove box, in your backpack, in your kitchen drawer. Have a handful of these things scattered around the house because you never know when you're going to need one, and it's nice to have it right there, all vacuum sealed. You just break the seal, pop out everything you need. It's right there. You can use code TNW10 at checkout for a 10% discount. Save you a little bit on shipping. So, episode 15. Mike, this was your idea. Go for it.
Episode 15 was what I like to call Trumpcast.
Trumpcast.
Yeah, Trumpcast. It wasn't necessarily about Donald J. Trump. Remember what J stands for, Jordan?
Don John.
Don John. It wasn't necessarily about Trump. It was kind of about what happened around the world when he was president, how the world reacted, how media reacted, how news, how your maybe fellow neighbor or family member.
Speaking of which, there's definitely going to be parts 2, 3, 4 in the coming 2 years leading up to the election cycle, because regardless of what happens, whether he's nominated or not, there's going to be a whole lot of drama surrounding him.
He's had an impact on the world, and there's no denying it. I think we kind of just...
In the time we recorded this till now, we're recording this intro, he's been indicted.
Yeah, you're right.
Yeah.
You're right.
So things change quick around here.
Much to come about the effect of Donald J. Trump on the rest of the world. You guys enjoy the episode. All right, so this is, what is this? We're
13? 14. We're on 14
I think
now.
we're on 15.
Son of a biscuit. Where have I been? You guys recording
We did one without,
me?
yeah.
We didn't want to tell you.
That's on me.
A Day Without Jordan was the title of the podcast.
Oh, perfect.
We just lamented about you and cried.
There was a lot less fucks on
I
that
was just
one.
going to say it was a PG-rated podcast.
Yeah, it's for all their older audience.
No.
That's where I come in.
All right, Mike, what's the theme?
So I wanted to do what I call a Trump cast. I wanted us to figure out Trump. And I don't mean Trump as a person. I mean, like, I think that time should be recalibrated. Like, you know, BC before Christ and AD after death.
Lord.
It should be BT before Trump and AT after Trump. Because...
But what about when he gets elected president
Again,
2024?
Oh, man.
well,
Let's
part
let's
2.
save that for part 2, and 'cause I have a lot of thoughts about what is going to happen should he become the Republican nominee again.
yeah. But so not even just figuring out Donald J. Trump as a person, but how the entire world has changed. When he became elected president in 2016, everything changed from media to how people talk about their president to how, I mean, the world has always viewed us in different ways depending who our president is. Like a Bush W compared to Barack afterwards. It's like, oh, the world views this as we got kind of this idiot, and now we have this charismatic statement. And that kind of reflects about how the world thinks of your country and its people and who you are. But I just think that so much changed when Trump became president. And not only like the presidency itself, but how news was reported, how sides were picked, how narratives were really established. I am not for Trump. I'm not against him. I kind of think all politicians are kind of losers in a way, but the amount of hate or the amount of whatever this guy said, everyone went opposite to a narrative. It was just...
Well, not everyone. There was a significant portion of the country that thinks he's Jesus Christ reincarnated.
That is true, but I guess I kind of mean for like most, if you turn on the news, besides Fox News, everything seemed to be so slanderous towards the guy. And don't get me wrong, I think he was bodacious and boastful and, you know, he was a hothead and full of himself, but it's not like the guy didn't do anything good. And
his policies were really good, and anybody who disputes that, look at where the American economy was in 2019, and not only that, but look at sort of the state of world affairs, right? So Israel and Yemen were sitting at peace talks that he brokered, and the Iranians had kind of backed down, and we were talking with Russia, which people act like we should be enemies with Russia, and it's like, wait, what if rather? And I kind of think that because he was a businessman and not a politician, he sort of took the attitude of, how do we make a business deal with all these, with Russia or with Iran or with whoever, and so rather than stirring up controversy, it was more like, okay, what do you guys want out of this? And here's what we want out of this. And that's how things probably should be. And if it weren't for his horrible bedside manner, imagine if he had presented as well as Barack Obama did.
Yes.
And had the same policies. He easily, I always say that had someone taken his fucking cell phone away from him, he easily would have been reelected for a second term. He shot himself in the foot because his personality was so just toxic.
Abrasive, yes, very much so.
But there's a group of people who love that.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there was never...
It's the same, just like we were laughing about that picture of like a fan you sent me. Mm-hmm. The same people who love WrestleMania love that abrasive nature about Donald Trump.
And that's the thing, like, you listen to a lot of people talk or like, kind of getting ready for this. I mean, I didn't do a lot of research. We all lived through him being president. Yeah, but it's like you guys lived through this time period. And it's like, okay, tell me about World War II. And it's like, well, I can't tell you about, say you were alive in the 40s, right? And it's like, tell me about World War II. Well, I didn't go there, but I can tell you about the feeling in the country and what it was like to have families that lost people and to lose like your loved ones, but have them working all the time or gone, or, the sacrifices you made. I can tell you what it's like. So in that same like idea, I can tell you what it's been like living in the United States from 2016 to 2023, from Trump to Biden, and kind of all these repercussions and feelings and like the shakings and the chaos of the world. I mean, when he became president, it was like the kickoff, like the Super Bowl of the world U.S. breakdown, it kind of seemed like.
Yeah. Well, and a lot of, I mean, God, it's sort of hard to fathom, like the number of people that were just losing their shit. Remember, like people out on the streets, like just that there's a meme of that girl just like screaming. Over and over again. It's like, what does the president of the United States affect your life that much?
Yeah,
you know what I mean.
Well, I didn't think so until I felt like the president that is currently in office started taking away so many rights of mine.
Well, and collapsing the economy. Like when a president does just. My God, the speed with which Joe Biden has collapsed our economy is impressive, and it's hard to believe that it's not intentional because of how well it's been done. But that's getting off topic because
there's economic like people who are obviously more schooled in that than any of us, and I heard somebody say, basically what Trump was doing made it to where he was like, the economy is going to look great because of how he's handling the economics. But when he gets out of office in the next few years, we are going to have a recession because of how he set things in place.
I feel like every time,
and I can't remember exactly what it was that I was told, because I'm me and I can't remember that shit. But I was told, and I was told, hey, you know what? In 4 years, we're going to go through a fucking recession, so get ready.
But that's always what the other side says. You know what I mean? Like, Obama came in and whatever, the economy dipped a little bit, and it's like, oh, no, that's because of Bush's policies. And then Trump comes in, and the economy's raging, and everybody goes, oh, that's because of what Obama set up.
Yeah.
And then now it's dipping again.
No, that's very true.
You know what I mean? So there's all this political
and this is obviously
bickering.
Somebody who fucking hated Trump.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes. Yeah. And so there's always this bickering, and they always claim like, oh, we're, you know what I mean? Like if it's going badly, it's because of the last administration, or if it's going well, then oh yeah, we did that.
Yeah.
At this day and age where we have the internet and connectivity and financial transactions can happen with the push of a button, I say bullshit. Whatever is happening right now is because of the administration right now.
Yeah.
I agree with that.
But anyway, let's start in 2016 then, because I know on election night, I think we've actually talked about this on one of the more recent episodes. When I went to bed on election night in 2016, all the news agencies were reporting that Hillary Clinton was way ahead in the polls, and I thought, okay, well, here we go. Hillary Clinton's president, and I didn't really think too much about it because I went into that election kind of like, fuck me, man. Like, these are our two choices.
It happened.
We've got this
before
fucking
that,
clown. We've got this clown from New York and like the cunt from hell.
Yeah.
Those are the two options that we have, and I don't even think I voted in that election because there was no clear
I didn't.
good decision.
I did.
Did
and
you?
it worked out for me. Yeah, I mean, I remember clearly, like, leading up to it, months leading up to it, and it was like, holy shit, like, Trump's this guy, and he's gonna be in office, and like, the left was just fucking pushing against it. They didn't want anything to do with Trump, and they just made him so toxic and looked at all this stuff. And that's kind of the interesting thing, because he's been such a public, like, in the public's eye for so
forever
long, that they were able to pull up little things. But like, realistically, like, how long was he in the public eye? Since
the 80s.
at least the 80s, right? And there wasn't that much stuff that was like damning.
Yeah.
You know, there was a couple interviews and there was some stuff he said, but there wasn't like a ton of stuff.
Yeah.
Whereas if other politicians like had been in the spotlight, look at Joe Biden and like the stuff that he said in interviews that like completely make him, like, he's saying the exact opposite of what he said.
Poor kids are just as smart as white kids.
Yeah, but I mean, and that's just been in
if
the
you
last
don't vote
few years,
for Biden,
right?
you're not black.
But even when he was younger, you know,
like the 84 crime bill and all that.
Well,
shit?
when he was top of his class or whatever,
lying
and
about
all that, and like things like that, and it's like I mean, he's been in the politics forever, so he's been in somewhat of a spotlight, but not like Trump.
Yeah.
Right. So you'd expect them to have more strong evidence of Trump being a piece of shit.
Yeah.
Than really there was.
There wasn't a lot, was there?
You know, they were grasping at straws, but I remember leading up to it.
It was his own sort of like he comes off as a douchebag.
Oh,
100%. And so that he's almost his own worst enemy.
But I think we have to talk about the reason why he was elected in that race. I kind of feel like so many people were sick of like the normal status quo of just politician in, politician out, politician in, politician out, where you're not really seeing any real change. And the idea that someone that comes from their own money or is kind of self-made, that is not inherently part of the system, puts the hair up on a lot of people's neck for the right reason, because it's like, listen, you're not swayed, you haven't been corrupted. Maybe you have your own corruptions, but you're not in the pockets like all these other politicians. So I think, one, that was a strong appeal for a lot of people, thinking that he's not like corrupted by the game
outsider.
yet.
He's not part of the
Can't be bought.
Yeah. And I think that is why the world went crazy, because the quote unquote deep state they break glass in case of emergency.
Yeah.
And so an outsider got in where an outsider wasn't supposed to be, and they broke that glass. And we had massive civil unrest, and we had COVID-19. I'm going to say COVID was released from a lab on purpose. I think everybody kind of understands that now. YouTube will censor us. Fuck off.
Do you think it's on purpose or it was an accident? Because I still debate that. I mean, it's just as likely that someone
think about
dropped a vial, ripped a hole in their suit, got an exposure.
In the weeks prior to
This
COVID.
isn't a breakout.
Yeah.
Shit doesn't happen in labs like that. There's,
in the weeks prior to COVID being released, you had all of the Taiwan freedom protests going on.
Yeah.
And the U.S. was starting to get behind it. Even people on the left were getting behind it. And then suddenly, here comes COVID. Everybody's locked down. And that was the end of the free Taiwan right then and there. You know what I mean? So my thought is the Chinese released that shit on purpose to put everybody indoors and end the free Taiwan protests.
Was it Taiwan or Hong Kong?
Sorry, Hong Kong.
Hong Kong, yeah.
Was it Taiwan?
No, I think it was Hong Kong, but now Taiwan is a new. I mean, come on. Every week something new is, remember Trump's wall? And that's all anyone talked about. And for the last year, have you heard anything about a wall? But our southern border's in complete shambles, right? It's like the amount of drugs and people crossing it and human trafficking.
Literally today, Joe Biden's Twitter account put something up about securing the border between, like, Ukrainians securing their border so that against the Russian invaders. And it's like, do these fucking retards not understand the irony of what they're... It's almost like they're fucking with us.
Yeah.
No, we need a wall.
Yeah.
Well, I remember as he was, like you said, 2016, we got Trump coming in. It's election night. And this is the first election I ever watched. I sat down in an apartment and I fucking watched almost the entire thing.
By yourself?
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
So boring.
Oh, it was awesome.
You just sat there and watched the election?
Yeah, I was pumped. I'd never been so, like, pulled into this, right? Because
really
before the election, like, leading up to it, when we found out Trump was the nominee, people, it was polarizing. I remember being in a bar and talking about it with my girlfriend, and people were, like, blown away when I was like, I'm going to vote for him. I'm going to vote for Trump. And, like, the crazy looks I got.
Yeah.
And it was like, you're a racist. And I mean, instantly, that was tagged with Trump. It was if you vote for Trump, you're a racist. If you vote for Trump, you're this. If you're, and it was like, I'm doing it. Why? Because fuck it, right?
Everyone else wants me to do the opposite.
No, because I was so tired of PC stuff that was happening on.
Yeah.
Well, the PC stuff is what, like, he was this beacon of, like, we don't have to do this same thing that we've been doing and bow down to all this, like, politically correct crap that's just been, like, pushed down our throats. And he was, like, saying outlandish stuff that was not PC.
Yeah.
And it was like, oh,
finally.
Relief.
Yeah.
A little bit of, it was a purge of the pressure that's been building. Like, oh, man, yeah, we don't have to put up with this crap.
Well, and he was, let's be honest, I mean, he was phenomenal, like, with roasting people. Like, when he was debating with Hillary, and she was like, well, thank God you're not in charge of the law and the order. And he's like, yeah, that's right, because you'd be locked up. And the crowd goes nuts. Yeah. Or that one reporter's like, you call women fat cows. And he's like, only Rosie O'Donnell. And the crowd goes nuts. But it's like, yes, he's got a good, sharp tongue, but there is honesty, and it feels like for once, I mean, when have you ever gotten a politician to talk like that? It's like normally if someone's like, we heard you called women fat cows. He's like, whoa. I adore women. I appreciate women. My mother's a woman. My grandmother's a woman. I think women are strong, valuable people that the American, just that politician talk.
Yeah.
When then you have someone being real and they're trying to be snarky with their questions, and this guy's like, nah, screw you. I got a good joke, and this is how it is. Mm-hmm. And next question. And he kind of put people in their place. And you get, like, I love stand-up comedy. I think it's like from your Mark Twain's to your Pryors to that form of comedy and free expression and speech, I think, is so valuable. Yeah. But I think,
and stand-up came alive
during
Trump.
Like,
there was a lot of crazy shit going on.
Yeah.
He gave him a lot of material.
Yeah. But also not only the material, but, like, when he became president, and because he was so outlandish and he would say these things, they would resonate with certain people. And it's like, finally, someone's kind of being honest and funny about this situation our world's in. But then other people took so much offense. And it's like, that right there, I think, says so much about the current situation our climate's in, because some people can get behind the honesty and understand that it's a little brash. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying the guy's the greatest, but then other people are offended. And that's what most of the hate I feel like is towards being offended. It's not giving specific examples. It's just that you feel this way, and that matters more than what's actually happening because you feel intimidated, because you feel pushed down. That should have more of a consequence than the actual things he's doing. Like when he was first elected, he's like, it was like there was 1 million people there. And then the newspaper the next day showed pictures of his inauguration. And there was like a field. And it looked like there was like 70 people in it. Well, they didn't show the whole perspective. And don't get me wrong, I think the fact checkers ended up saying there was like 500,000 or 600,000 people at this inauguration. And Trump's like, he was talking about this story in particular. And he's like, my inauguration was huge. It was like there was 1 million people there. And I woke up the next day and I look in the papers and the news and there's a picture. Well, I said, wow.
There was a lot of people there.
But he goes, and it was like, I look in the papers and there was no one in the pictures. And they're like, oh, Trump has lackluster response, to his thing. And it's like, okay, so instantly, as soon as he becomes president, division happens. He's like,
hang on. Was division already sown during the Obama era with the, God damn it, what's the city in Missouri where all the race riots? Ferguson.
Yeah. With the tiki torches?
I think Obama was intentionally sowing the seeds of division. And I think that's what I say. He presented really well, and he spoke eloquently, and he had all the poise that you would want of the executive office of the country.
Yeah.
But I think he was the most evil president we've had in my lifetime.
I don't mean division of the people. I mean division of the press and the president.
Okay.
I don't mean the people. I mean the division of when that happened and it ran that story. Like he said, that. But
the press is run by the deep state. The press is not the press. The press is a propaganda arm of the deep state.
But that's what I mean.
When an outsider got in, the press was sicked on him.
But that's what I mean.
Go get him.
We all realize there is something much bigger at play in 2016. When in the past has it ever mattered when a president said there's 1 million people at my coronation, and then the other half of the news cycle goes, no one came and there was nothing there.
That's kind of the beginning, and not maybe not the beginning, but for the majority of people, kind of realizing that
what the fuck's going on.
Well, and media might not be what it is.
It seems a narrative when something's supposed to be truth and
fake news.
And that's yes, that term started to come in 2016 in this stuff, fake news. Even before that, I think he called Hillary a fake news or a fake news article. And so it's like, as soon as he was elected president, it seemed like not only was it he would say kind of crazy stuff, but then they would just run with it so hard. Like he said, there was 1 million people there, and they go, well, fact check, there was only 600,000.
And that's another thing.
Isn't that just a term? Don't you say there is so many people? There is 1 million people here.
Yeah, who's fact-checking the fact checker?
Yeah, but why do I need a fact checker for something like that?
Who employs the fact checkers?
Well, when did I didn't know about fact checkers until
they didn't exist until then.
And that's part of what we're talking about. Like these things, the terminology that's been around Trump. Like since him, before I didn't hear about that. Before him, I kind of trusted the news a little bit more.
Yeah.
Before him, like there was a lot of things going on, and then like when he got in there, that outsider who kind of like threw a wave into the the little pond. Or the swamp, should I say? That's when things started getting a little dicey, and it was like, people started kind of, I hate to say like waking up to stuff, but like I think a lot of people were like, oh shit, like there's some weird stuff going on,
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah, I've never seen a time and point in which like the news has gone so against a president or just been like, slanderous, maybe. Like, they would always talk about the president and what they're doing, and you would have personalities that would say, I think this is kind of a good idea or a bad idea in my political viewpoint, but just the immediate pushback of anything he said, and then if he says something, it was instantly deemed racist, homophobic, like
he couldn't get to the point of saying anything without somebody or some group or whatever demonizing him.
Yeah,
and I've never
actually sort of it's impressive how well the opposition mobilized against him. Like, it is like at some point, people should look back on this as a case study of, if you want to mobilize your base and expand your base against an oppositional candidate, this was like a case study in that.
Well, it became a fad, right? It was cool to fucking hate Trump.
Yeah.
Right? So it was cool to, in that I think it liberated a lot of people on the left to like act out and have these strong feelings. And I think they used gay rights, and they used transgender, and they used racial stuff, and they weaponized all those things and made it out to be like, oh, well, if you vote for Trump, you're voting against gay rights, you're voting against women's rights to choose abortion over, having a baby, you're voting against
progress.
They combined it into one giant progressive group think.
Yeah.
And just like you said, they weaponized it against him.
Yeah.
I wasn't in my scope of life, but LGBTQ, all that, was that happening before? I mean, obviously that was happening before Trump, but like, it was not in the media like it is.
That stuff.
Because I think it was one of the, just like I said, I think it was one of the elements of that weaponization of the opposition. And they went, hey, here's this movement that exists. Let's take it next level. We'll even make it ridiculous as fuck and start telling people that they can be cats and zebras and shit, and that whatever they want to be, Donald Trump is preventing that. Like, hey, my kid wants to dress up as a pirate for Halloween. Well, he can't because Donald Trump is evil.
Yeah. Orange man bad.
Yeah.
Orange man bad.
I know somebody who has taken and...
Oh, by the way, so Mike Kozak taught my kids kickboxing last night. And Lando immediately went home and put on his ninja costume.
Oh, really?
Yes. That's awesome.
Perfect.
I had never...
Totally sidetracked.
No, you're good.
Oh, shoot, what was I saying? Trump, What a guy.
Hell of a guy.
Listen, if this conversation gets off the rails, I don't know who... Did you mix the Bloody Mary?
That shall be unnamed. Who made those?
One of you two is trying to take me home and take advantage of me.
No, it was not me.
I'm going to need an escort out of the building.
It just the polarization of Trump was unlike any other president we've ever had, it was absolutely bonkers.
Yeah.
But
still is. He's not even the president anymore, and the amount of space he occupies in the people who hate him in their minds is unbelievable.
Or even just the news
guess
cycle.
what? There's people that love him more.
Oh, I know.
It's
Like I said, it's the same people who love WrestleMania.
Yeah, it's not just the same people that love WrestleMania. I mean, he has become a.
And to be fair, I'm going to vote for him this cycle.
Oh yeah, I mean, I
would vote for if
because we need to bring it back the other direction. And like I said, if you could just take his goddamn cell phone away from him and keep him out of the public eye a little bit, his policies were sound.
If it was Biden and Trump, I'd vote Trump. If it was Trump and RFK, I would vote RFK. And I would vote Democrat. Yeah. I think he's a much better proponent as a president for getting out of Ukraine freedom.
Fuck you.
Yeah.
No. Well,
Libtard.
I voted for Obama his first run for office because his
Hope and change.
Well, not because of a tagline, but his platform was to eradicate or end NDAA, the Patriot Act,
Yep.
and to increase government transparency, and to reduce our military footprint overseas, which are still things I stand behind. Turns out he was completely fucking lying about it because
a politician lying?
yeah, exactly. Well, what's funny, what's crazy is that he was Obama, and with Hillary Clinton as the Secretary of State, they were neocons. And if anybody doesn't like, I challenge anybody to
Jordan's looking for a
argue
definition
that.
there.
Neocon?
Even Donald Rumsfeld he's like,
Yeah.
actually, I really like Obama and Hillary Clinton's foreign policy because they not only did they continue the George W. Bush, Donald Rumsfeld, Dick Cheney foreign policy, they actually ramped it up a bit to the point where they were doing drone strikes all over the goddamn planet. They assassinated 2 U.S. citizens without trial, Anwar al-Maliki and his 16-year-old son.
Yeah.
And like they straight up,
That was ruthless.
ruthless.
Ruthless. I seen it.
Yeah. So anyway, again, that same platform that Obama ran on in his original bid for the presidency is what RFK is running on, except, now having been burnt one time around and learned from my mistakes, I think that RFK is the genuine article. And honestly, if it became a RFK versus Trump election, that's just a win-win for America. And quite frankly, I wouldn't give a shit which one won. However, I don't think RFK will get the Democratic.
He won't get the nod because of his vax stuff.
Yeah. He's too far
But he's
outside. He stands against the military-industrial complex.
Too
he
far
stands against
sinner.
He's too much for the people. That's the problem.
Well, his family's been involved with this forever, and they know how Washington works. I think that's one of the best aspects of RFK running is that he has been so ingrained in the system. He knows how to call the bullshit where the bullshit is and how to try and sidestep it.
Yeah,
I think he's interesting.
He's not going to win the nomination.
Never.
though, because the DNC won't allow that. Just like the
So that's
hang
where-
on. Here's another thing. Here's another interesting point to back up it. We talked about when Trump, became the nominee. Remember that Bernie Sanders should have been the DNC nominee.
He
won the primary.
He won.
And because the DNC is fucking corrupt,
Collusion.
AF, exactly. They said, no, Bernie, you're not the nominee. Hillary Clinton is, even though you won the primary.
Yeah.
Which that alone shows you how fucking corrupt the entire system is.
So it's like they're wanting certain people to stay in, like you're saying with your neoconservatives. And I find it's interesting because when 9/11 happened and we started going to war, everyone was like, "Oh, you're just
Jordan's watching YouTube.
Is he getting Trump
No,
calls?
sorry. Yeah.
What you got, buddy?
We're good.
But when we went to Afghanistan and Iraq, and Bush had his 2 terms, and then we get Obama, and it's like, it felt like the idea or the feeling of America is like we had these war hawk hungry Republicans, and now we've got some blue blood in the White House, and it's gonna change. And all of a sudden, the left went from like, we want like no war and love and happiness to now being the people promoting war.
World War III.
Yeah. And it's like,
Jesus.
is it because that side has been bought out by the military industrial complex by having large companies or like how did it change? Because
how did the military industrial complex go from being entrenched in just the Republican Party to now it seems like they are more entrenched in the Democratic Party? And again, that happened during the Obama administration. I think.
And I don't understand how that happened because like it doesn't make sense that the one group that was affiliated with like peace is now the one that's promoting like putting us almost in a World War III effort with Russia because of the Ukraine conflict. Like, it's not about negotiating. Now it's like there's bad people and they do bad things. So now we got to draw the hard line. We got to get the Trump. We got to get the Putin.
Yes.
We got to get all these people
So
that are screwing
if you
us.
want, my personal opinion is that the Obama administration and now the Biden administration are agents of globalist actors, the World Economic Forum, and even it's infiltrated the large banks like the AEG and the Goldman Sachs types, which is why you're having this. What do they call it? Is it ESG that has the like the climate agenda? Like people wonder like why is Target promoting all this transgender stuff? Why is Bud Light putting transgender on their beer cans? It's because all these huge corporations rely on massive lines of credit to keep their business running, and because the banks are part of the globalist agenda and the ESG requirements, if you don't fall in line with this ESG shit, which is the climate change agenda and the woke bullshit, then they'll cut off your line of credit. So social credit is already being instituted at a higher level, at the highest level. And so all these companies, even though Target knows it's going broke, they're still having to put the transgender shit out on their shelves. Yeah. And then like all these, and people will be like, well, how come nobody learned from that? And there's other, is it Walmart that's following suit, or I can't remember which, damn it, there's another one that's following right behind Target. And it's like, did nobody learn from Bud Light?
Yeah.
And it's like, well, it doesn't matter because they're being threatened that if they don't do what we tell you, we're going to cut off your line of credit. And they're all so dependent on credit that it's just going to sink them, which goes right back to, at a personal level, what we were talking about, I think last week, or maybe it was 2 weeks ago, about not getting yourself leveraged to the point like
in debt.
Yeah. And it sucks because in order for a business to grow quickly, having a line of credit is a big advantage because then you can make progress and hope to make that money back and pay off, your minimum payment. Whereas if you do it all out of pocket, you have to save and save and save for years before you can make the next, big leap forward. Yeah. But the reality is, at that point, you own it, and you don't owe anybody anything. So all these major
less risk.
Yes, all these major corporations that we're so familiar with in day-to-day life, they're all heavily leveraged. And now that this ESG and globalist one world agenda has infiltrated the major banks, the banks are pushing it on the companies that we rely on in our daily lives.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I mean, at what point can we get around that?
I think we need to start a business. Andy Frisella always says on his podcast that personal excellence is the ultimate rebellion. So I started a small business. Start a fucking small business. It doesn't, like, whatever your passion is, whatever you're good at, start a small business, because that gives people an opportunity to pay cash and for you to run it without, like, you can take a line of credit if you want to risk it, but I do everything out of pocket, which is why it takes a while. Like, Training Northwest is growing, but it's growing slowly. And it's because I am paying for everything as I go. Yeah. So, and it's the reason I still have a day job, is because I have to make ends meet. Yeah. But that's
strong though. That's a strong business. Exactly. A business that you can do what you want and say whatever the fuck you want.
So I'm beholden to no one.
Yes, and that is powerful.
Yeah.
So the more people that do that, the more they have that power.
Yeah.
And you have to decide, what do you want? Do you want the quick, fast?
Yeah. Do you want to get on Amazon and get some plastic shit tomorrow? Or do you want to live in and the perfect microcosm of it is, I grew up in Omak, Washington, right? It was a town of 5,000 people. And when we moved there was a main street and a four-way stop. No stoplight. There was a KFC and a Safeway, and everything else was mom and pop. There was the other grocery store other than Safeway was called Jean's Grocery Store. There was a sewing shop. There was a outfitter for hunting and fishing. There was a Radio Shack. There was a candy store. There was a dime store / pharmacy. There was a Mexican restaurant. And it literally was called Main Street, and it was very quaint. And in 1994, a Walmart was built, and it crushed all these little mom and pop shops. Yep. And once they all closed, the only option for work was to go work at the Walmart or at the Safeway. And so now Home Depot has moved in and a few other larger chains, and nobody has options for employment other than these minimum wage, service industry type jobs. And that kind of shows you how if you lean towards a little bit cheaper prices and convenience, you will destroy your fucking community.
So this is good. This leads back to Trump. And it's weird that when someone says that their mission statement or their goal or their mantra is to make America great again, that you can get so much hate for it. Now, hang on. I'm going to keep going. Throughout history, through wars and stuff, or like Germany post World War I, getting ready for World War II, all the rhetoric of Germany was make Germany great again, right? Because Germany, a lot of Germans felt fucked over at the end of World War I.
MGGA?
Yeah, but it needs to be more angry in that weird German tone. So stupid. But I mean, that was the sentiment of Germans. I mean, that was a big part of why Hitler rose, is that he felt Germany was fucked over by the politicians that were in there, and a lot of German citizens felt like they were mistreated post World War I because of what they did. And that feeling of, which is a good thing, if you're disenfranchised from a shitty war that you just got out of and started, but then you're like, okay, let's just focus on making this country the best it can be again, right? We put so much effort into international affairs. I think we say a lot of the time, wouldn't it be better if we put that effort and money into domestic affairs?
Oh, 100%.
So,
I mean, think about all the money we've put into fucking Ukraine. What we could have repaved. We could have repaved every goddamn road in the United States with that.
Yeah, but weren't we going through like $1 billion a day in Iraq and Afghanistan combined?
Yeah, I'm sure.
So how much over the course of how many years, how many billions was that? That if we had reinvested that into the American population, the American society, the American people, the American infrastructure, the American education, how much better would that have made us? And so this thing that keeps getting said, make America great again, I can get behind it. But then you look at the past of like Germany and stuff, and where does that lead? Not saying we're going to become Germany, but does that rhetoric, I don't know, just because there's so many like correlations of Donald Trump, and then the media goes white supremacy. They want to make America great. They're all about white supremacists. And it's like,
so hang on. Just a quick Google shows the annual annual cost of the war on terror was $1.6 billion per year.
$1.6 billion per year for the war on terror?
Yeah. And it went on for 20
terror.
Technically, it's still kind of going on because there are still troops in
per
Syria.
year, though.
Per year, per annum.
That doesn't sound right. Only in 1 year of having all those people, those tanks, those soldiers, that infrastructure, you're only spending $1 billion. Didn't we say we need?
To be fair, this is Google, so it could be.
Yeah. Didn't we say we need $14 billion in Seattle to fix the homeless problem?
I thought the war on terror was in the trillion.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
It was before inflation.
Yeah, that's before the dollar collapsed.
Pre-bite inflation. Jesus.
Yeah, so it's
Sorry,
like,
go ahead, Mike.
No, I just don't get how wanting to do better for your country or to like make the others around you or the infrastructure better.
You're talking about racism.
Makes you a racist or a white supremacist or like, when is it? But like I'm saying, I'll add a little bit of, to be devil's advocate. In the past, when those things have gone bad, like a Germany, like a... I mean, even Pride China in some way during Maoism was like, China's kind of in pieces. Let's get this good. That phrase has been used throughout history, I'm sure. Make this place great again.
Yeah. I don't know if this follows directly into what you're saying, but if you look at the Chinese Cultural Revolution, and everybody should go read up on that right now, because you will find some very close parallels to what is going on right now in the United States. Whereas, so post-World War II, the United States installed Chiang Kai-shek as the leader of China, and out of that rose, I assume, sponsored by the Soviet Union, Mao Zedong's communist revolution. And it wasn't really a violent military revolution, although it was violent at times. It was a revolution of culture, just like we're seeing right now with
colleges.
Political correct. Yeah, exactly. It was born out of the education system, and it was done with, newspeak and groupthink, just like is written about in George Orwell's 1984. And we're experiencing that right now here in the United States with political correctness. It's coming out of our universities, and it's like a cancer that's taking over our society. And it's fucking scary to me, because I have kids, and I hope I have grandkids someday, and I don't know what kind. Like, if it were just me, I wouldn't give a fuck, because I'm already playing the back nine of my life, and I would just say, fuck it all. I'll just be a wild man till the day I die.
Yeah.
But the
you
reality
have
is,
kids.
Yeah, exactly.
Right?
Exactly. So I have skin in the game of the future.
Yeah.
So this matters to me. It troubles me, like, deep.
That it's honestly, that is one of the biggest thoughts I have about having kids.
Yeah.
Because I don't have kids
It's
right
concerning.
now.
But at the same time, we also need people who believe in independence and personal freedoms to have children, so that you can raise them to believe in freedoms and, sort of like reinstill the American ideal in them, because the left has done such a good job of corrupting young people's minds that the reality is nobody wants a civil war. That's a horrible outcome.
Yeah.
But we need to approach this from, I think, the aspect of we need to basically educate. I don't know. Is educate? I don't want to say indoctrinate, because I don't want to indoctrinate people in freedom. We need to educate people on freedom versus authoritarianism and oppression and communism.
Yeah.
And what the pros and cons of everything are. And when you understand the pros and cons of both systems, most people end up choosing freedom, because it's a lot more fun, and you can do just the ability, like what human being doesn't want to do what they want to do?
Yeah.
We are all born with free will. Free will is a tenet of humanity. And so a government that's Jordan's watching YouTube again.
I got one of our guys on Manny.
What?
Trying to get.
I was in the middle of a good one.
Freedom.
This fucking guy's watching fucking. What are you on TikTok over there? Jesus Christ!
No, I'm trying to figure. I'm not a social media guy, right?
Oh, you are. I could beg to differ.
I'm trying to figure out how to use this social media and go live, right? So I'm trying to get us going live, and then all of a sudden we get a guy, and he's like requesting to go live with us, and he's And then I click the button because I don't know what I'm doing, and next thing I know, and we got sounds coming into the mic, and so one day I'll figure that out. It'd be cool to be able to go live. Could you imagine that if we had a TV set up and we could go live with people in the midst of the conversation and click on them?
Hang on, you sent us a photo of our super fan. I don't know that we want to go live with these people.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah, brother.
Are you kidding me?
Something we have realized in the last 24 hours is that I make fun. Like, we've brought up WrestleMania several times on this show, but it's because apparently we share a demographic.
Hey, there's nothing wrong with that.
I know. I love
it's
it.
that 18 to 39-year-old male demographic.
The reality is that's America, baby. The people who are going to bring freedom back are the motherfuckers who are driving the lifted fucking pickup trucks with an American flag flying out the back, because they don't give a. They have a little bit of that Donald Trump in them, where they don't give a fuck what you think. They are not afraid to step on your toes and hurt your feelings.
Yes,
and that's what we need.
Well, and that's what I was talking about Donald Trump coming in and having that political correctness that was not, or the lack of political correctness, right? Mm-hmm. When you, whose wife looks like a dog? fucking
Ted Cruz.
Ted Cruz's wife's a dog. And guess who's and guess what, Ted Cruz? You're endorsing me.
Yeah.
You know what? Your wife looks like a dog, and here I am.
Yeah.
And that is so powerful, and it's such a like it truly is. Like, I mean, we laugh about it and we make that thing, but you know how many people got behind that just for the laugh, and said, you know what, this motherfucker, I could hang with this guy. Yeah. You know what? Yeah. Fuck yeah, I'm gonna vote for him. There's a lot of people that did that.
Yeah,
I'm not gonna say, I wasn't necessarily one of them.
Even the latest woman who has just accused him of sexual harassment, and even though like a jury found it like, did they find him guilty or did they find it probable that he conducted sexual harassment?
They changed.
But he got on the stand and he was like, "Listen,
Yeah,
I would never sexually harass you. Look at you.
she's not my type. She's ugly
exactly.
as shit." Yeah, I saw that.
And everybody who pays attention looks at that woman and goes, "Yeah, he's right. That is." If she were a supermodel who had been in like one of the Miss America pageants when he was running it, accused him of sexual harassment, everybody would be like, "Oh, yeah, he might have done that." But the reality is, there's zero fucking chance he went after that woman because she's ugly as fuck.
Yeah,
and that, as he said, is not his type.
Yeah.
I mean, but it's truth. It's truth.
It is truth.
And people don't want to hear truth, because when you tell people truth now, all of a sudden you're an asshole.
Are hurt.
Yes.
Yeah, but every woman's beautiful.
No, they're not.
And this woman
They're
should be
not.
beautiful, and he should want to have sex with her too.
No, they're not. And that's the fucking thing of it. And here we are, like, dealing with this crap again, where it got worse almost, right? We had the pendulum start swinging one way of like, yeah, you know what? I'm going to say what the fuck I think. To all of a sudden it's starting swinging the other way, where it's like, you can't say anything about transgender people.
Yeah.
You can't say anything against letting your kids get mutilated. Like, and now it's like, I'm starting to get loud about shit.
Yeah.
And I don't care. I'm wearing an ATF is gay shirt. You know what I mean? Like,
Our next follower.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
Oh, they already follow us. We've got ATF, FBI, DHS. Hi, guys.
Well, I mean, that's the thing. Is like, we're getting to this point where it's like, you need to be able to say what you want to say.
Son of a bitch. I just realized we probably have 30 subscribers now. And you guys think half of them are probably federal agents?
This is so not
Maybe.
what I thought it was gonna be. Oh shit!
Yeah.
Police
Well,
action state.
But that's what's truly like. That is what Trump brought.
But
He
that's
brought
what,
to me
and you know what?
feeling of being able to say what I want when I want, and it's okay.
Even now, right? So remember, one of his sort of catch lines was "drain the swamp." Even now in 2023, he's been out of office for 3 years or 2 years. The swamp is being exposed. Yeah. So we're starting to see how corrupt the Department of Justice is. And the FBI, as of last week, was withholding evidence that may have shown that Joe Biden accepted payments from Chinese actors.
I think
so maybe what his presidency has done is it really is exposing how corrupt all of our institutions are. And, I think we've mentioned it on here that I had FBI agents call me because they didn't like something I said on one of the Training Northwest YouTube videos. Yeah. And so if we have the FBI refusing to investigate high-level corruption at the highest office in the United States, but at the same time going after, my dumb ass because of something that may have ruffled some feathers on YouTube, like, it really goes to show you how fucked up the entire situation is, and the system is just broken.
Well, I think it's interesting, like, if you want to look at it like like the FBI, the indictments, the impeachments. He's the only president to be impeached twice. The
and he's
Russiagate,
still gonna run for another re-election.
Right? The Russiagate stuff, like, I don't like when politicians are being used as ploys. Like, for this last thing with Trump where he's being, I don't know, what is it, a sex crime technically? or some.
I don't know. I think they're just throwing anything and everything they can conceive at him.
Right. And it's, it went against the statute of limitations in the state of New York. They actually changed it where they extended the statute of limitations so that he could be charged. Right?
Yeah, they did the 24-hour thing or whatever the fuck.
No, it was like statute of limitations used to be 5 years. And because of these charges, they made it so it didn't apply. So any crime for this year period could happen in the state of New York. Therefore, they're charging Trump with this stuff. And it's like, listen, guys, when we get to the point where we're trying to criminally arrest our politicians, not for actual things that they have really did, but we're trying to create false narratives or false accusations to get you in jail so our other political rival can be the one that gets office or heads the election.
Dude.
Well, now we have Germany in the late 30s.
No, we have gangs in New York. And we have fucking... sorry.
Choking on my...
Words.
Overstrength Bloody Mary.
Which, you know what? Maybe we should have a fucking a refill.
Sir, hang on.
We might have to go
Is there
to the
any
store.
vodka left? Or did you guys put the entire fucking bottle into 3 drinks?
Might have to go to the store.
Yeah. Jesus Christ. The Weimar Republic, which is the government that existed pre-Nazis, Germany was in turmoil. The government was sort of collapsed. So post-World War I.
Yeah.
There was a huge sort of dilemma in Germany because the country was in shambles, and so what did they call him? Not the premier,
the chancellor.
Was it the chancellor?
I think so.
No, it wasn't the chancellor. It was the. Oh shit! Way to go, Tobes. Anyway,
he just pulled a Jordan.
Yeah, I know. I'm pulling a complete fucking blank right here. And I just read this book. Anyway, there was almost like a lack of leadership in Germany, a lack of faith in the government. The people didn't believe in the leadership. And so the government was sort of struggling to find legitimacy in the eyes of the people. And they could see that there were a couple of different parties that had a lot of popular support. It was almost like 1/3, 1/3, 1/3. And Hitler was one of those thirds.
Yeah.
And, God damn, was it Wilhelm or?
But then in that same,
there was a Communist Party, the Nazi Party, and I think one more, and they knew that they couldn't maintain power as it was, and they were going to have to turn over power to one of these parties, and Hitler basically strong-armed them
with the fire.
Not just with the fire, but this took place over like 3 months at the end of 1933, I think.
Mm-hmm.
God damn it! Whoever mixed these Bloody Marys is an asshole.
Yeah, but no, I mean that what is it? The fire of Dresden?
Well, that was the firebombing during World War II, where Dresden was firebombed.
Or not Dresden. What did Hitler light on fire to make it look?
Books. He lit books on fire.
That was after the Nazis went power.
What was the building they had them
Chancellery.
Yeah, as a false flag operation to help get Germany into World War II and have his power class rise.
I'm talking about 1933, like the end of the Weimar Republic and the rise of the Nazi Party.
Yeah.
But there's so many parallels right now with the United States where we've sort of lost faith in our leadership. And we're looking for a scapegoat, and people they're like, oh, it's all these racists and these bigots who are against gay rights and whatnot. And it's like, oh man, it's such a dangerous position to be in where all the citizens are pointing fingers at each other because it leads to civil war.
Yeah.
And civil war is an awful fucking thing. And anybody who, there's all these dipshits on, Instagram or whatever who are all excited because they own an AK-47 or an AR-15. They're like, yeah, bring it on. Man, look at some of the, archived articles from Sarajevo or, Stalingrad, Leningrad, And you'll see like these, there's like these heartbreaking photos, especially from Sarajevo. You see like a father carrying, a young child down the street that was shot in crossfire or whatnot. And it's like, man, the last fucking thing we want in the United States is a civil war.
Look at our own civil war and the amount of death and how much destruction and burning of
battlefields for the most part.
Yeah, but
at
even
this point,
cities,
the world is so populated.
Yeah,
it
would be unlike any other situation.
Yeah, but that's what I mean. Like even back in the day, like during our Civil War, like the cities that that's why carpetbaggers existed in the rebuilding of the South. Like Sherman's March to the was it Sherman's March to the Sea? Like where he just completely went through and destroyed the South. It's like, I don't care who you are or what generation you live in. A civil war is never really that good for the people. Maybe you're getting resources and that's why you're going to war. But when you have internal strife in a civil war, it means your society
You're actually going to break down your society. And
exactly.
Break down your
you're not working cohesively. You're collapsing. This thing
But the reality is the current administration, the Biden administration, is breaking down our systems. It is breaking down our society. So they ended fracking. They've put a stop to
who's it going to benefit?
The Chinese.
I'm
just going to say,
families.
my opinion right now is that Joe Biden is a paid agent of the Chinese government.
We're bought off.
Yeah.
That's my biggest fear is that we're bought off.
And he is taking his directions from the Chinese Communist Party, and he is intentionally collapsing the U.S. dollar as the Chinese are making big moves worldwide. So Saudi Arabia, Argentina, Brazil, India, all the other major economies in the world are going to the Chinese yuan. And the United States dollar, guys, the United States dollar is about to flatline.
Is it Taiwan?
Taiwan
Taiwan's going to be taken over before.
They're trying to.
Yeah, they'll make
administration. No, they will take over Taiwan.
Yes.
Before Biden's administration is over.
Yes, because
and that's what we're going to have.
And you're seeing all these new alliances form. Like it was just yesterday in the news that I think it's the Iranians and the Saudis and the Yemenis have formed a new naval coalition, which a lot of people will be like, yeah.
And the Emirates.
Hang on. People will be like, oh, that makes sense. They're all geographically located. Guys, what you don't understand is they fucking hate each other. Yeah. The Iranians hate the Saudis because that is a, what do you call it? The two sects of Shiites and
religious.
Sunnis. Yeah. The Iranians are Shiites and the Arabs are Sunnis, and historically they fucking hate each other. So for them to be forming a pact, that's something everybody should be paying attention to. Like the world is shifting, and in some ways this is fascinating times because we are witnessing the death of a superpower, the United States, and the rise of the new superpower, which is China.
And how do we survive it?
Well, that's kind of why I wanted to talk about this stuff, and like especially Trump, and I would say it's like BT before Trump and AT after Trump, because there's a thing called the Fermi's paradox. Do you guys know what the Fermi's paradox is?
I've heard it, and I can't remember what it is, so go for it.
The Fermi's paradox is like,
Jordan, do you want to YouTube it?
Let's get
an Instagram live video so someone can answer.
It didn't work the first time. Why not the second time? Fuck. Sorry, guys. Here we go. Woo. Highway to the danger zone. Here we go.
So the Fermi's paradox is the question of, if life is so abundant on Earth and we see life everywhere, why don't we see life from other planets?
Fuck yeah. So we're going to talk UFOs and aliens now?
Well, yeah, we can start getting into it. Hell yeah.
Because last time I said, I want to talk UFOs and aliens. And
we
went right back into exactly what we were talking about.
No, this is Trump cast. Hang on. We got to figure this part of the world
Trump from Mars. Maybe that's why he's so orange.
He's probably that hair's made in a lab for sure. That hair's made in a lab. He grew up
in that orange dirt, and he's from fucking Mars.
It's Mars dirt is why he looks that way. Could have you ever, like, I went to Hawaii and they had like tanning oils, and they're like, oh, it's got coffee infused in it to help you brown. Like, do you think he gets like bronzer from Mars? With like
orange Mars
mineral rock, to make them oranger? Yeah.
All right. Well, All right, this might be the perfect moment to go take a pee break.
All right.
Hey, we just went live. We got two guys on right now.
Holy shit! All right,
There they are. Will, what's up, buddy?
pee break.
Trumpcast is all over the place.
And we're back, you silly bastards. I don't remember what we were talking about, but
Donald J. Trump.
Donald J. Trump.
we're going to get back on track.
We're getting back on track, and I would like to go. I think we kind of left it off around this area, but I would like
Hang
to.
on, what does the J stand for?
Don John? Jonathan? John?
I don't know.
I think it's John.
Don John?
Don John.
Don John?
No fucking way. No way is it Don John Trump. No way.
Don
Is
John.
it really?
I think it is. Someone Google it.
All right, I'm Googling.
Grab your phone. We'll give dead air just to figure this one out.
If that's the case, like, that's going to be one reason everybody needs to vote for him right there. Like, just that alone. Are you kidding?
Don
John. Yeah, Trump has been so one little thing that I've seen, right? I was living with people that were not of the Trump train
Yeah.
during his during his presidency,
Yeah.
right? So I spent
Donald John.
Holy shit. All right, well, Don John.
Yeah, Don John. I told you.
There you go. That's the greatest. Holy crap. That's powerful. So, anyway.
You know what that tattoo says on the lower of your back, Jordan? Isn't it Don John?
It's about to be.
So stupid.
Well, so I literally was living with people and
Jordan's got a tramp stamp. You guys didn't know that, did you?
and it's Donald Trump wearing pit vipers. But
Tobin's got Pelosi in a wet t-shirt contest.
yeah.
This is dumb, dude.
I'm crying. It's an educational
Oh,
show.
this is so stupid. What are we doing? Thank you for listening, guys. If you've made it this far, we appreciate you. Yeah. Mike's got an AOC's
Oh God!
tattoo on his ass, but you know what the O is. But
The squad. I got the whole squad on one.
God
Yeah,
damn.
one cheek.
Yeah, whatever happened to that group? They
fell apart.
hold on.
Jesus.
I keep trying to bring this up.
Yeah, go
but Donald Trump has been so polarizing that I lived with somebody and they would buy his books, right, to see the crazy shit that he was saying,
Yeah.
or if there was a Trump book that came out that was slandering him, or whatever it was. But the gal would cover his picture with a piece of paper, like tape over the cover of the book.
She would pay money for his book.
Get the
But
book.
then,
Get the book,
yeah.
and then cover his face.
Did she buy it hardcover when it was like $43, or did she wait
well,
for paperback?
No, I don't. It was a hardcover. I remember
Oh
that.
yeah,
But,
so she's paying $45 for his book,
but
then putting a cover over his face.
I don't know if it was his book or like a book that was just like, I didn't look at the book to go, oh, it's the
okay.
Trump book. It's like,
Yeah.
but it was a book with Trump on it, and there was multiple of them.
God damn.
And his face was covered with sticky notes and fucking tape. So like it. Just that level of like,
That's TDS.
fuck you.
Yeah, Trump derangement syndrome.
I mean,
Like, I think it's a real thing.
it's
be
gotta
honest.
be.
It is.
It's gotta be. So
But-
like that is brought on by like just hate. But at
Yeah.
the same time,
I would
you
say
listen-
by
you listen to this-
mental and emotional weakness.
Yeah, but
you listen to this gal talk, and then when there's not Rachel Maddow talking points that she's going off of, she kind of aligns.
yeah,
And it's like
a lot.
you need to like step back and realize what's actually happening of the greater good that is happening under this president and the freedoms, and then but it's very, everything comes down into a funnel. All the negative comes down, all this negative spread out throughout his presidency comes down into a funnel, and that gets spewed out, that little tiny funnel gets spewed out on TV. And that is what everybody's seeing on the left. And like that is what they're focusing on, right? And it's just like, I mean, look at us. We're, or look at me. I can't speak for you guys, but I'm looking at memes watching Joe Biden trip over carpets that aren't carpets and things like that, and just like
That's
dying.
called reality.
That's just dying. Just like, what the fuck? He can't figure out how to get to a podium.
Yeah.
And
he's the only president I've seen fall upstairs, not down them.
Yeah, it's wild. So I mean, but there were just so much hate. But I'm not going to say that, President Biden's not the president.
Yeah. I hear.
Whereas, like, you remember that? No,
not my president.
Not my president.
Yeah.
Not my president.
Yeah. Do you remember Howard Stern at all when he was on radio?
Oh, absolutely.
I do.
Do you remember when, like, they would say the stats of average Howard Stern listener was 2 hours and the average Howard Stern hater was 3 hours?
Yes, and they would ask people, why do you listen to Howard Stern? And the people who hated him most would say, I want to know what he's going to say next.
And that carries over. I see a lot of similarities.
Exactly the same thing.
It's like a shock jock for a president. Almost,
yes,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's kind of a weird thing.
But that's kind of the place he came from.
Trump?
It's true, because he came from, business first, but then reality TV later. And it was reality TV that led him into politics.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's kind of weird, though, because it's like, he's so simple in a way. Have you guys ever read that book, The Art of the Deal?
No.
The Art of the Deal is two things. One, you fucking rip on someone and tear them down. And then two, you build them up and talk about how great they are. And it's like...
So it's like relationship advice? Or
Yeah. Yeah. 100%, dude.
Holy shit.
But, that's kind of his whole ploy, He's like, Nancy Pelosi, dog face, ugly, can't get a thing done. In her time, though, she's really done some good stuff, And it's like,
You do that pretty well.
That's kind of the art of the deal, And he's kind of done that his whole time. And I think people find it repulsive and stuff like that, but I don't know. It's kind of also the thing that draws him in with that type of antics. The guy is, we've never had, he should be a stand-up, let's be honest.
Oh, 100%.
I think he would have had a more successful career as a stand-up.
Just get in there and insult the crowd.
Kind of, yeah.
I don't think so. I think it took stand-ups really building him into what he is. I think because, like you said earlier,
I think like the Ted Cruz stuff, the Nancy Pelosi, he just has a way, like the Hillary Clinton.
This guy in the front row here, look at him.
Yeah, he just knows how to kind of work the crowd and the people. There is something about him that is like, it's not like I like him, but it's like that thing of the Howard Stern. I want to know what he's kind of going to say next,
Yeah.
And it's not like I'm for or against, but I still feel that same thing. I want to hear what he's going to say.
Yeah.
Who's the best? And that's Trump has had more people do impersonations of him.
Every president has it. Obama, I think, was kind of hard, but like, how many in the '90s? Bush.
Well,
there was a lot of that.
Bush was like, and let's take Saturday Night Live.
Yeah, Dana Carvey probably is the most.
Well, and he was
noted.
Bush 41.
Yeah,
and then you had Bush 43. Gave all kinds of. He gave Saturday Night Live all kinds of material. And
they both did.
Went soft on Obama, which shows you a little bit in retrospect that there is a little bit of a, even then there was that connection between whatever this deep state thing is and media. And then as soon as Trump came in, there was very few Obama skits on Saturday Night Live.
Who did they have a person like, because Trump was played by the Rust mass shooter?
I was to say Alec Baldwin.
Alec Baldwin. Yeah.
Jesus.
The Rust mass shooter. Yeah.
And then
Dana Carvey famously played George H.W.
Yeah. And Will Ferrell did a pretty good Bush 43 impression.
Oh, my God. Yeah. Strategery. Yeah. But there was never really an Obama one.
There was no Obama on Saturday Night Live.
That's a very good point.
Yeah. And then of course, yeah, they went hard on Trump.
Yeah.
And it kind of shows you like what side of the coin the media is playing for.
Well, what's also that mask deal?
And to be fair, I support, like, I want comedians making fun of our politicians.
Every
because-
one of them.
Yeah, every single one of them. I don't want them playing partisan games. I want them making fun of all of them.
Yeah. Good or bad.
Yeah.
Yeah. What were you saying, Jordan?
Well, the mask deal where a certain mask sells, and that typically is the president that wins the election.
Oh, yeah,
Certain mask?
Like a Halloween
The
mask.
Halloween mask is the
Like
telltale
Point
sign.
Break.
Oh.
Point Break. You
Oh,
know,
yeah,
like
yeah,
all
yeah.
the president
Yeah.
masks.
Dead presidents.
Yeah.
So that mask sells every year of every president.
Oh.
And the president that sells the most is the president that wins.
Oh.
Every year until Trump.
Interesting.
Trump sold more, and Joe Biden won.
Did he, though? Did Joe Biden really get more votes than Barack Obama? Like, think about how popular Obama was.
Well, I mean,
Especially-
he wasn't running
especially-
against Obama, though.
But think about...
Yeah, but you... Okay,
Trump,
next...
Trump, who upset the entire system, then is up for re-election in a booming economy, and Joe Biden gets record-breaking votes?
This is great.
Does that-
Let's go to the election with Trump.
Okay.
You know? And I think this is a great one because it is loaded. It was a contentious presidency with divisive politicians and people feeling one way or another. We just got off of COVID. I mean, we were in the midst of COVID. And you have to look at, this was the first election where mail-in voting happened throughout the United States, whereas certain states said we do mail-in voting, but now every state did mail-in voting.
I thought that meant they weren't going to let ladies vote, but
Mail-in. Yeah.
that was my bad.
I also thought we'd finally gotten women out of voting.
Yeah.
Sorry, girls.
Are they past their prime, like Don Lemon said?
Well, you know,
No.
they're all over 40.
This is why we only have 2 listeners that are female on this podcast.
Yeah, it was a
and
joke.
shout
It's a
out to
joke.
our fan that came to kickboxing last night.
We got it's
Kay?
it's my mom
Well,
and Kay.
the fact of the matter is, Kay's a badass,
Yeah.
and we're lucky enough to like call her
a
a fan.
I was just gonna say, the
you
only
know.
females who listen to this come to jiu-jitsu and kickboxing.
Yeah.
But at the same time, like, she's a savage.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Greg was like, dude, check this out. And then I watched and I was like, yep, nope, she's an animal. So,
Fuck yeah.
you know, that's cool to like have that situation. But, you know, there's more out there. I believe it. I believe it.
There's 2 or 3 more somewhere else under a log.
You know, thank you, Kay.
Yeah. Aren't you the Neanderthals? Yeah. I know one other lady that listens to this show.
You're talking about your wife, right?
Yeah.
So good to meet you guys.
Part time. One day we'll blow up and we'll laugh about this.
All right.
Trump
Trump.
is
Well, hang on, Mike. You said you want to talk about the election, then we flatlined.
No, yeah. So, I mean, I don't know. The election was weird, and it's like, don't get me wrong, I think probably Biden won. It was very divisive. I mean, we're in the midst of COVID. So much
Well, hang
stuff's
on.
being
Do you think
accused left
do you
and
think
right.
it's legitimate that he got more votes than any other presidential candidate in history?
Biden?
And here's the scenario in which he got more votes. The economy was booming beyond anything it's ever done before. We were drawing, like, ISIS had been defeated.
Yeah.
In the space of a very short
Obama tried 2 terms almost to get rid of him, and Trump got him
Did he try to get rid of them?
in a weekend.
Did he try to get rid of them?
Who knows?
Because they were defeated pretty quickly after 2016.
Goddamn quickly.
Yeah.
But
So-
Trump was all heave-ho on giving military, like, power again.
Well, he was all heave-ho on letting military experts run the military.
That's what I mean.
And so ISIS went under in about fucking 5 seconds.
Yeah, that's what I mean.
And The economy was going gangbusters.
Yeah.
The world, honestly, was probably about the most peaceful it had ever been because there was, love him or hate him, a strong leader at the helm of the world's #1 superpower.
Yes.
And so in that situation, he ran as the incumbent and was defeated by a man who could barely put sentences together, who was hidden in a basement and did not participate in town hall meetings or debates, and somehow got more votes than any presidential candidate in history.
So that's what fucks me up the most about this, is that we went from the top of the top. Things were going amazing in America.
Yeah.
It was just like the sun was shining on us. And now we're talking about the fall of
a
the
superpower.
greatest superpower of all time.
Almost
in
seems
the course
intentional.
of fucking 4 years.
Yeah.
We're talking about we're going from like I can't like work is so good. I
was so happy in 2019 I was coaching baseball and working construction and killing it. And
there was nothing I couldn't
racing
do.
Mountain bikes. Yeah, life was fucking wonderful.
Now,
And now here we are. I'm on this cusp of like
Unemployment.
hope I have a job next week.
Yep.
If I get laid off, fucked.
There's nothing in the future. If you get laid off, you're out. You're like, there's nothing coming up. It's not like, hey, I'll get laid off and get picked up again in 3 weeks.
Yeah.
I don't know what I'm doing for the next 3 years.
Yeah.
Right?
And that's the reality. And people don't fucking understand that right
People don't understand what's coming. And so here's a little snapshot, which is that where I work is a major hospital in the greater Seattle area. And they just finished, they were planning on building another massive building, which would have put, it would have been $800 million into the economy, just this one construction project. It's been sidelined because they don't know if they'll be able to pay for all the, you know what I mean? It's like, oh shit, cost of material is going up because as you start the planning and development, you look at like, what does copper wire cost? What does steel steam pipe cost? What does it cost to heat the building and cool the building? Well, you have like the Seattle City Council, because of, we were talking about ESG regulations earlier in the show. Mm-hmm. The Seattle City Council 2 years ago passed a law that says new buildings cannot be heated with natural gas. Well, guess what that means for a giant hospital that needs boilers?
Yeah.
You have to run electrical boilers. That's fucking like
how's that carbon footprint treating you with that?
Shit. Well,
we're getting to a point where we're trying to overload a grid.
Yeah.
And that grid is going to fucking give way in a matter of
but most
years.
People look at that and they're like, "Oh, good, yeah, we're getting natural gas out of the system." You don't understand the kind of electrical power that is needed to run a boiler for a hospital, and it's not available. Like the Seattle city grid doesn't have that kind of power. Like they can't just keep building buildings that are using electricity, pure electricity from the power plant to heat themselves. So that project has been sidelined because they don't know how to go forward with it because the costs have started like just compounding and compounding and compounding because the economy's tanking, the dollar's tanking, and then you have all these ESG requirements that make everything more expensive and just sort of it's all like unrealistic.
Yeah. Well, that's kind of like the cars. Like, we're going to go all electric,
dude,
let's get rid of
happen.
combustion vehicles. But it's like, it feels like people are saying things to win brownie points
Exactly.
or to
That's
like
exactly what
suit
it is.
a particular
to
narrative
soothe
without,
a narrative and to get people to vote for them and keep them in power.
Without having real people be like, hey, man, the world doesn't work like that. And somehow these conversations of saying, like, this is the way in which you actually power the world or the infrastructure of the world works off of these methods. Listen, I would love to go for something that doesn't put as much like fossil fuel carbon, just pollutants in the air. Like, we love hunting. We love the outdoors. I would love to keep things a bit more pristine.
Oh, dude.
So if there was a healthy way of doing it.
The dream of my, like, if I could have an existence that, like, could actually work.
Self-sustaining.
I would live in a shire. dude. I'd live like Frodo Baggins. I'd have this like
He's
this.
got the fur for it.
You know what I mean? Like I got the feet for it too, and I got a bone on me. I got a bone on me, people. What's up? Yeah,
Jesus.
and it's a foot bone.
Shout out, Chandra.
Hey, ladies.
Hey, girl. It's not. I wish it was. But I wish we had like that, right? Like I wish we had small farms and we were all supporting. Everybody could ride a horse 30 miles, and that would be a day's event. And then once you got 30 miles away, you had to spend the week there, and like you couldn't come back home. Like, I mean, that is how you create sustainability, right? Yeah. And that's the world I wish we truly had, but it's not reality. Reality is like wheels and cars, combustion engines. We're communicating on electrical wires that are fucking producing crazy shit, and we're talking to you on airwaves, and you're listening to. You got AirPods in your fucking head right now, listening to us. You know, we're talking to you from. You're at work right now. You are at work right now, listening to us, and you have a cord.
And we don't want to rub it in, but we're drinking in a jiu-jitsu gym.
Yeah, but you know what I'm saying? Like, people are at work right now. Yeah. They have their fucking AirPods in, and that AirPod you're
or
getting
they're commuting in heavy traffic
or commuting. Yeah, either way. But look at the cars around you. Look at what it took to get here, and now we're talking about like wanting to be like green. We're not going fucking green anytime soon. The only time we're going to go green is if there's less people.
But didn't we have it where it was much more sustainable? Like, even though we did have electricity in like the 50s. Like, don't get me wrong.
No,
like,
I think right now. So Washington State did away with its used vehicle testing of emissions.
Yeah, we're nailing it.
Because they found that so few cars were not passing emissions testing because catalytic converters are effective.
Yeah.
That there was no reason to continue testing used cars for emissions.
Yeah.
And we have some nuclear power plants left, but we had nuclear power.
We need to have more
of
them.
We need to have more
bullshit.
Of that. Yeah. Because every time and they're taking down dams, which is hydroelectric,
and hey, you know what though?
Salmon
with
fish
fucking taking down dams though, you know how many toxins are built up above those dams?
Is there?
Fuck yeah!
Oh, yeah,
are you kidding me?
Rocks, moss, everything.
The amount of death that's gonna happen when you take down those dams and fucking let that
all the shit go out into the ocean,
dude.
Yeah.
We got problems. Because look at all the pesticides and all the things that are coming out of the fields.
Well, hang on.
Right into those dams.
Now that's one I can get behind. Is we need to get rid of Monsanto and Roundup and all these pesticides and herbicides that are being sprayed all over our fucking food. And even like Jen and I try to eat clean, and even with like organic produce. One of the so again, Obama. One of the laws he passed is that a farmer can attempt, quote unquote, to grow organic vegetables, but if they run out, like say they plant 50 acres of non-organic and 1 acre of organic, so they can sell organic vegetables. If they run out of supply of organic vegetables because they attempted to supply organic vegetables, they can now take those other 50 acres and label them organic in the store. So you really don't know what the fuck you're buying.
Yeah.
And another sort of add-on to that is that you can take your field and hose it down with Roundup before you plant your seeds. As long as you don't spray the Roundup after you plant the seeds.
It's organic.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So we're getting all this shit in our food that we like. It should scare you guys. Like it honestly, like we live right next to a creek and a little retention pond through our development, and I let my kids play in it. But part of me, because I don't want to be like that, neurotic parent. But I know that all the neighbors spray weed killer and fucking all kinds of shit all over their yards.
And that's the fucked up
It's so
thing.
important to people to have like this green grass, and it's like, what the fuck does grass do for you? You spend hundreds of dollars every year, and in this era of bioengineering, you know that the Scott's Turf Builder guys aren't creating a grass seed that's robust and is going to grow year after year, because that's bad business. They're going to grow a wheatgrass seed that needs you to buy moss killer, and then you need to buy more grass seed, and you need to buy fertilizer if you're going to make it work, so that you're spending hundreds of dollars every year. And all that shit ends up in the groundwater that runs off into these creeks and retention ponds. Now my kids are knee deep in it, and it's like, God damn it. I don't want to tell them to get out of the pond, because that's what kids should be doing when they're 8 years old. But at the same time, it's like, that shit is probably full of fucking glyphosate.
Yeah, when it's a science experiment, I don't want you playing in here.
Exactly.
So, first off, grass is awesome. If you've ever walked around in bare feet in grass, it is phenomenal.
Yeah, you're
right.
Yeah.
And there's something special about grass, and grass is a natural thing that has happened.
You know what else is amazing to walk around in barefoot is like the loam soil like we have out in the woods here.
Yes, and that's what I'm gonna say, right? So we have a situation where you walk around with bare feet, you step in grass, and you have this connection with the earth, and that is so good. And then you let that grass go sideways, and all of a sudden, like, my yard's full of fucking moss and all this other stuff. And I'll go and I'll step around, and it's like, it's nice to have a yard, but you know what I like more? I like having ground cover of actual plants, and that feels really good.
Yeah.
And when you can go and lay down in it and just allow your body to, like, have a connection to the earth for 45 minutes, take a nap in the fucking... That is so good. I don't necessarily think we need fucking fields of grass like everybody does. And golf, you know what? I'll give the golfers... Take your grass, your crazy grass, your fucking blue fucking whatevers, and your
Alabama creeper.
Yeah, you know what I mean? Like, they have so many grasses, and it's so good. I'll take my feet out of fucking... I'll walk around on a grass. I love it. I love it. I love it. But I think there's something special about just plants doing what they're going to do. And so when I see yards that are kind of fucked up, and, like, the yard kind of, like, overgrows, and it's like, okay, that's full of grass, and it's like, I kind of like seeing what that does.
Yeah.
And then all of a sudden, like, you'll see a bunch of grass, and it's like, that grass is like 4 foot tall, and now there's like little fucking stick things hanging out of it, and all of a sudden there's a fucking tree growing out of your grass. Yeah. We're literally 35 feet away from where a grass field was. Let me orient myself to where we're at. Right over here, there's a grass field, and that grass has been able to grow. The grass is about 4 foot tall now, and there's a tree growing out of the middle of the fucking yard.
Wow.
And that's just what happens. So, like, all of a sudden, that tree is going to get bigger and bigger, and it's going to drop fucking leaves, and those leaves are going to beat down the grass a little bit, and then all of a sudden, other stuff's going to happen, and moss is going to happen, and over time, there's going to be this. What the fuck did we get here from Trump? My God.
So Jordan's on a nature walk.
Dude.
Jordan dropped a mushroom, and he's on a nature walk.
I just enjoy grass and everything else on you know. I'm going, my bad, guys. Sorry for taking you there. Don't swerve on your drive to work, guys. My bad. Good gravy. Yeah, Trump was a really good president, I think. We're trying to... that's right. On me. That Mike, one's on me.
You're our den mother. Rescue us.
This is all
Bring me back. Bring me back, brother.
Oh, my God. Grass, huh? So...
Grass.
You know, Trump owns fucking...
a lot of golf courses.
A lot of golf courses he owns. And that's not a bad thing. Yeah, no, people trying to act like it's...
Walk barefoot out there.
I'll fucking walk barefoot on a golf course all times. Dude, Trump's a good dude.
Will they let you on a golf course in bare feet?
Dude, they'll let me. Try and stop me. Try and stop me, golf courses. You know what I mean?
Snap a club off, come at me, motherfuckers.
I'll kill somebody.
Oh.
In the back nine, dude.
Jordan, I went here, and then I went there, and now I'm so confused. I was following it.
I don't
for
know
a
what to
second.
say either.
It was, it's fun stuff.
Yeah.
Yeah,
What the
but
hell
no.
were we-
So
all right,
we were
hang on.
talking about the dams and the dams coming down, and the chemicals in the water, and your kids playing in the water, and then I like grass, and da 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 da. I don't have kids, and
actually, we were talking about new energy policies and
you.
how it's sort of destroying the economy. And that's actually one of the things Trump said. Like, it's so weird that CNN gave him that town hall a couple of weeks ago.
Bizarre.
Because one of the things they said is like, how would you jumpstart the economy again? He said, drill, baby, drill. Because when he went out of office, the United States was a net exporter of energy.
Yeah.
And Biden came in and immediately shut everything down with an executive order, which
and then they shut down. And remember that when fucking Biden got in, he shut down. He shut down like 550 jobs that quick.
Yeah.
Guys, like, you're not going to work tomorrow. Yeah. Sorry, fuck you.
Yeah.
Well, not only the jobs he shut down, it's like, look at the. I mean,
I don't know the exact.
We're
number.
all complaining about prices and economics and the economy, and it's like, I don't know.
Yeah, what is gas
when
right
gas
now?
went up?
Gas in Everett, Washington right now is $4.30 a gallon.
Yeah, but when it first happened, wasn't it all just blamed on fucking Russia? Like, because Russia's invading the Ukraine, oh, well, now we're putting a higher tax or we're putting a higher value on crude 50-gallon barrels. And it's like, well, first of all,
imagine what
we
gas
don't
is
get
gonna
our
cost.
gas from that area. We used to get it from fracking for natural gas, offshore drilling. And don't get me wrong, I'm not 100% behind going into like Alaska and like all these different areas that are supposed. Trump was tough because in certain ways, like things that I love, like the outdoors and stuff like that, he was like, yeah, you have natural resources. That's what it means to have wilderness and outdoor areas. And it's like, yeah, I don't want a lot of Alaskan drilling or inland drilling, but I don't want to be paying $6 a gallon for gas. So where's our happy median that we get these two things where we
the
get
reality is
climate
life
and
requires
economy to
natural resources.
Yes.
So all these people who are like, no more natural, like, listen, retards. Most of you
listen up, you fucking queebs.
Most of you can't fucking survive in nature. So
Yeah.
you need a house that's built out of lumber, which means that trees need to get cut down.
Yeah.
And you need a roof that's made out of either shingles, which have tar in them, which is petroleum, or sheet metal, which is aluminum, which comes out of the ground.
Or
and
a
aluminum,
huge carbon
aluminum
footprint.
requires a massive amount of energy to refine.
Huge carbon footprint.
Then all of your medical shit comes packaged in one-time use plastics, which is petroleum. All of your food comes packaged in plastics. Motherfuckers, if you are living in an urban area, you cannot survive without petroleum and natural resources.
Yes.
It's not fucking possible. So I do think it's a good idea to put ourselves on like a, let's say like a 200-year plan to wean ourselves into,
Even
biodegradable.
50 years is better.
But
they gave us 3 or 4.
Yeah, the idea that you're going to snap your fingers and, you've got like Washington State and California, like, oh, all vehicles will
2032
be EV by 2030.
Yeah.
It's like, no, but that's clearly propaganda, because if anybody who looks barely below the surface into what is required for cobalt mining and lithium mining, it's not environmental at all.
No.
Electric vehicles are not environmental. They might be cheaper right now because you're charging them for pennies, whereas opposed to paying that $4.30 for gas. But you are not fucking saving the environment. So you can take your fucking self-righteous bullshit and shove it straight up your ass.
Well, and the big thing is like when I was a kid, when someone talked about a miner, like I thought like, a gold miner. No.
Whoa, easy. This guy.
I coaches high school wrestling if you guys want to sign your kids up.
Oh, man, no more Bloody Marys. But when you talk about mining, like when I was a kid, I thought mining was using a sledgehammer and a spike.
Yeah.
And I thought mining was using, a pick.
Digging a tunnel.
And
not scraping a hill off the face of the earth.
No, not using chemicals to leach ore from earth. What mining really does today is a chemical process. It's not a physical process of chipping. Yes, you want to get your substance in a certain area. I want to get all this material in from column A to column B, but now when it's in column B, I'm going to pour acids and I'm going to pour all kinds of different chemicals on these to leach these minerals and properties.
If that keeps going to the ground, obviously we got a problem, because that's where we're talking about, your kid walking on the creek and they're getting leached some weird, crazy shit. They're not down there just catching crawdads. They're down there catching fucking cancer. And that's a true thing.
Oh
yeah, cancer rates are up.
Well, look at Agent Orange, the folks who came back from Vietnam, the veterans that came back from Vietnam.
Testosterone.
And glyphosate, a.k.a. Roundup that everybody uses in their yard, basically is Agent Orange.
Agent Orange, yeah.
Testosterone's going down because of not only the things that we're eating and the things that are happening, but everybody's got a fucking cell phone in their pocket next to their nuts, and that's fucking taking testosterone down. And I don't give a fuck what anybody says. That is the fact. There is so many different things that are contributing to that, but what's more prevalent in our youth? Testosterone's going down at a rapid rate. And so is fucking Wi-Fi and every little bit of this technology that's going into our phones. That's what's killing America right now. 100%. And we're going to put these phones in everybody's pockets, and we're going to act like, that everybody's walking around this 4G, 5G, all these different things, and this is what's killing America, right here, a cell phone.
God, what was it? I was listening to one of Andy Stump's episodes. I think he calls it like the anxiety rectangle. Yeah, it's everybody. People log into social media to not to look at things that make them happy, but to look at things that, going back to Trump, trigger them.
Yeah.
So
when I think I kind of talked about it a few episodes ago, but when we went turkey hunting, it was like I was out of the system for like 3-4 days. And then when I came home, I noticed myself, I sat on the toilet. I'm like, I'm going to have a good BM and I'm going to update my Instagram status. But I just found myself in that loop from like the past 3 days. All I cared about was like, what time are we getting up? What time are we looking for birds? What time are we eating
what are
food?
we eating for breakfast?
Yeah. And then let's go back. And then I came home and it was like, oh, who said what about who? And what does this new policy mean? And you said a few episodes ago, something was like a virus got set into our economy or our world or our politics. And it wasn't like a virus of COVID. It's like a mind virus. It's a corruption virus. If you look at Rome back in the day, I forget the exact leader who said it, but he said, if you want peace in Rome, you give the citizens bread and circus. Yeah. And what that means is you're giving them food to keep them content and happy, and you're giving them spectacle. You're giving them the arena. You're giving them the distractions that keep their mind off of their life and what's happening at this time.
I feel like America's become the spectacle, and we are. And because like you said, we're a global entity.
Well, that's why
we're almost like a global reality show, because every other nation feels like it's their sort of prerogative to chime in on what the United States is doing.
America is the show,
the reality show of the world.
But that's
we need to take over this place, and we as a people need to tell the politicians where to fucking go, because they are raping us for everything we can give.
Well, that's why Mike Zedong, one world government, it's like, so
stop,
No.
Mike Zedong. We'll kill Mike Zedong.
We'll hang that.
But isn't Mike Zedong
Mike
saying...
Zedong's going to get killed in a second.
Isn't Mike Zedong saying that the people should be the ones creating the rules and the laws? That through the masses of Mike Zedong, one world government, where the people are the government.
People are going to try and Google Mike Sedong, and they're not going to get anywhere. Mike Sedong is Mike's.
He's
Mike's dong.
He's pointing at his wiener.
Yeah, he thinks he's a fucking actual leader. It's not anything. Don't worry about it. It's okay. No, one world government is not going to save us, and we don't need that.
But it's the people's government is that one world government.
I don't want a one world government.
I don't either.
No, I want a people government.
I want to be able to kill Russians.
So if the government was given...
I'm sorry.
So
was that me?
No, but if the government was given to the people...
Chinamen.
It came from China.
China virus. But if the government was the people, if like things were a mass vote instead of politicians telling you what we think the people want.
Dude, I don't trust my local vote. Let alone
I don't trust my
world
fucking
vote.
union vote.
That's what I'm saying. My local vote.
Yeah.
I don't trust that shit. So I'm not gonna let the world be able to, I mean, are you the guy fucking behind the computer, like tallying the votes? Are you fucking kidding me? No,
I'm
dude.
not.
No,
I'm not.
I could create I guarantee you, I don't know anything. I don't know dick about computers, but I could go to a fucking local college and I could learn how to like create some sort of a tallying program and understand like, okay, I'm going to do this and you put a vote in, I'm going to put all these pamphlets out, or I don't even know how it fucking work. But all I'm saying is that could be corrupted so easily, and I'm not okay with it. And so we need small government. We need small like groups.
But we're not small though.
But guess what? We are small.
But we are small.
No, but how do you make 9 billion people small?
Who's 9 billion people?
The world.
Yeah, fuck the world. We're talking about...
How often do you interact with someone outside of Washington State?
But that's what I mean.
I want this county to be strong.
Yeah.
I want us to be strong.
Yeah.
If I could have a fucking spot here that drilled oil in the northeast part of my state, drill that fucking oil and give it to us. And but guess what? Fuck you, Idaho. Fuck you, Oregon, and Canada eat shit. I am going to take
That's a platform I can vote for.
I'm going to take that oil, and we're going to create as much as we can locally.
Right. But here's the thing. And then Idaho will look at their resources and say, hey, let's create what we can because we want to trade for that oil. And we have minerals, so let's mine for minerals.
And I'll go, hey, I want that oil.
We'll trade with
oral.
Oil.
I mean,
oil.
Oil.
No, he was right. He nailed it. Keep going. Tell me about oral for oil.
Goods or services.
I'll blow you for some gas, man.
Bro, we're gonna get there in the next 2 years.
We're there.
Oh shit.
Yeah, but okay. So to push back though, it's
I
like
meant or.
All right. This is an all gay podcast.
But to push back, it's like, it's not a
Pride Month.
Oh shit. To push back, it's not about the actual like the thing itself. It's not about the gas. Cool. You have all your gas for your country. America's great. All this stuff is good. But then when you get to a certain point where the world gets big enough, it's not just about America. Like, sure, we did a great thing for making the United States a great place and trying to secure our freedom and making sure we thought we had natural resources like gas and stuff.
Okay.
And maybe we had to fuck over a few countries or a few groups, but then you have something like 9/11 where your actions cause a reciprocation of events because of the things you did, and other people are going to react because you're not the only America. That Saudi Arabia,
but a one world government. Why would a one world government hurt itself?
Why would a one world government hurt itself?
Yeah, like I mean, because if we're in a one world government, like that never would have happened. Because why would we hurt ourselves?
So if the one world government is the people, if it's the people voting on everything. If it's not like ARs need to be banned because a politician
guess
said
fucking
it.
what?
How do people
Guess
in
what?
India have the same interest as the people in Washington State?
Because
So
the same
why should we be voting?
basic necessities:
together?
food, shelter, safety. Your hierarchy, Heimlo's principles. What was it? Hilo's.
I want 50 wives.
Yeah,
I want them in Washington,
Well, how about this?
and
How
they
about-
need to beck and call. I need them, and they will be mine, and I will take them.
So if
Right.
you
Well,
live
hey-
in a community where that's accepted by
No,
all the
no,
people
community,
around
community. No, we're on a one world.
one world government. So let's say
Yeah.
that in America we want to have gay rights.
Yeah.
But in Saudi Arabia and in South America, where they're a little more religious, they're like, no, we throw gay people off the top of buildings.
Yeah.
So what are we doing in Washington State? Are we throwing gay people off of buildings because?
Of course we
There's-
are, because
there's
Saudi
more-
Arabia.
Yeah. You know what I mean?
No, but you can still have, just the way you have federal government and you have state government, you can have.
Am I supposed to think that vote is
And by the way, like,
accurate?
Our national government is a fucking disaster right now.
Yeah,
Who the
yeah.
fuck thinks we can run a world government? Like,
Sure, dude,
if,
no.
if we can't run a national government,
But
we
this
probably
isn't-
should not
My
be attempting a world
communication is
government.
getting so warped by the time it gets to fucking Germany.
Yeah.
My communication is
We
getting
have
so
4
warped.
listeners in Germany, by the way.
Well,
One in Saudi Arabia, too.
Ein, zwei, drei,
9.
4. Whatever the fuck that is.
Anyway,
Bjorn.
nice. Thank you. Anywho, those people over there, we're not gonna have the same communication. We're not gonna have the same needs. Period. So we're not gonna
Well-
vote for the same shit. And my need and your need and 100 people's needs in the greatest, we're in the Northwest. We don't need the same shit that they need in
The
Africa.
desert.
Yeah, you do. You need food.
No,
Water.
you need food,
With
water, shelter.
completely different
Shelter.
considerations
Okay, now
about it.
we need
Maybe people not to
But guess
pick
what?
on you.
no. We
You
need
need to be able to express yourself.
no.
Just like,
we're-
isn't
express
freedom?
yourself. What the fuck are you talking about? Express yourself when
That's
you don't
freedom.
have water.
But isn't freedom?
Well, we have water. They don't have water.
But don't we have the right to free speech? Isn't that
Here,
expression?
it's
yeah.
Here we do.
100%.
So
What-
that's what
hang
I
on.
mean.
So now what happens if the Soviet Union decides they don't like, or it's not the Soviets anymore, it's the Russians. Let's say Russia votes against free speech and the Arabs
Yeah, but
vote
what
against free
person
speech.
wants to
I
go
want- I
against?
want-
Now do we shut down
nuance.
free speech?
I
But
want
that's what I mean.
nuance in area and nuance for geographic situations,
Yeah.
right? There's nuance in that, right? We need something different than people in Australia need. Because of the nuance, because we're in the Pacific Northwest, we have more rain than goddamn anybody.
Our environment, but
Exactly, but that
our
creates
rights, what we need are the same thing.
We want-
need the freedom of religion. We need the freedom of speech. We need the freedom
have
of press.
that here.
Do we?
We do.
Does Australia? Do the people?
Not when they
Can
gave
wait-
up guns.
When you talk,
Stupid sons of bitches.
when you talk and things get shadow banned, when things get sleight of
I don't know
hand,
that we do have freedom of.
that's what I mean.
I don't think this is a free country.
But
I think this
Good
is an
gravy.
oligarchy. I think we
So
live in
this
an
is
oligarchy.
supposed
what
to
are we
tie
talking
it-
about turkeys for?
But this is
all
supposed to be-
turkeys are not turkeys.
But this
You
is
know?
supposed to be the confusing part. This is
Are we
supposed.
talking about the country of the bird?
I thought we were talking about turkeys for a second there. That's my bad, guys. I'm
Country
sorry.
or the bird?
I don't crash. Don't crash your car because you're pissed off at me.
See, but this is where it's supposed to get like, what is the best way to be ruled? What is the best way to live? We're talking about all this Trump stuff where it's like, hey, man, we want the truth to be out there. There's certain narratives that other people are taking. When someone says this is right and another group says this is wrong. So how do you get rid of these corruption and these narratives?
Smaller
the people-
government.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah.
Less world government and
smaller
government.
means that you have a higher ratio of representation. Like you yourself have a higher ratio of representation when the
Yeah.
government is smaller.
Here's
And
the deal.
That's what we want. We want everybody to have more of a voice.
So
that
what-
requires
Electric
a
North
smaller-
Jiu-Jitsu. Electric North
government.
Jiu-Jitsu. I have more say
Yeah.
at what happens at our gym
Yeah.
than I have. I'll take one. Yeah,
I know how to work him.
I have more say at what happens here
Yeah.
than what I have in the county.
Yeah, but this government is 60 to 100 people, whereas that government
And you
is
know what we need? You know what we
thousands.
need? We all need the same thing. We all want the same thing.
But your representation
No.
here is louder than at the government of Snohomish
Every
County.
human being in the world wants the same thing.
Yeah.
This is human nature.
Freedom.
I want my family to prosper.
Yeah.
I want them to be safe and comfortable.
Yeah.
That's it. I love my family and I want them to do okay.
But
I
don't
don't
you
want
want-
them to I want them to die of old age and nothing else.
But don't you want them to have the opportunity to choose whatever they want?
No, they what
Yes.
Yeah.
That's
what
democracy.
what are you talking
But
about?
I don't think
I
it's
want my
choose.
choose of what? I want them
Whatever.
to we choose what? You want to die of something other than old age?
Yeah. I would like to smoke cigarettes. I would like to drink alcohol. I
Great.
would like to fuck hookers
Great.
and get STDs. I would like to do what
I don't recommend
I
that.
would like to shoot guns.
Then do it.
But if,
Why is that going to stop you from dying of old age?
Well, certain things will have negative consequences on your health, and there's just
No,
like
no.
drinking and driving. You're probably not going to live as long as if you never drank and drove at the same time.
So
right?
what?
So there's certain ways that you'll get longevity or lasting.
So you're telling the government should say, "Hey, don't drink and drive"?
Well, because now you're infringing on my freedoms. If you get all
My
hammered,
freedom to get hammered drunk and drive home tonight
yeah,
is going to stop you from being free.
yeah, because if you hit
If I
me,
hit you and kill you, you're
Yeah.
so we need to have a law for that.
yeah, certain things,
Okay, great. Then we should.
yeah. Just the same way I don't want you shooting people without, like, that's kind of what
But where shooting people come in?
shoot.
Because drinking and driving is like, I'm not planning on killing you, but I might have accidentally killed you because I was drunk. So okay, so let's understand like
Yeah.
that's something we need to go on and
Yeah.
like go. I'm not going to drink and drive. You're not going to shoot me on purpose,
Yeah.
right?
Maybe.
But you should
yeah,
be able to
yeah,
shoot
yeah.
because I should
You
be able
should
to
be
drink.
able to have a gun.
I should
but
be able to
so
drink,
that-
but I should be responsible. You should be able to
Yes.
shoot. You should have a gun because you're going to be responsible. And you know what? We're going to allow drinking to go everywhere in the fucking world. Or maybe not the world because it's not a one world government.
Yeah.
We're going to have this drinking or this happen, but that's allowed. But we're gonna tell you can't have a gun.
That's another great
But
point.
would
Is
you
what if the one world government, if all the people have a vote, and
I don't trust the fucking vote
yeah,
because I don't
Well, not only
believe
that, but
I don't
again,
believe
like-
we can counter a vote.
let's say that
I can count a vote for a
because
town. I can't
cultures-
count a vote for a fucking world. I
Yeah,
can count the
exactly.
vote in this gym
Yeah.
because I can fucking look everybody in the face and say, hand me your fucking paper. Hand me your paper. Hand me, and by paper, I mean vote.
Yeah.
Hand me your vote. And I can count it. I don't believe that gets, once things start getting digital,
yeah.
things are fucked.
Okay, so then
it's
how
easy to
about being
corrupt it.
hypocritical?
But here's the thing. So if you want your one world government with all the people having the vote, different cultures have different values, and
Yeah.
they're going to vote different ways. So again, a culture that's
They have values
10,000
for
miles
survival.
away on the other side of the world, their values are not going to reflect our values, and they shouldn't
No.
be in control of our lifestyle decisions, which is why government needs to be localized. And even within the United States, like look at the Deep South versus the Pacific Northwest versus New England versus the Midwest. We don't have this, like we have some similar values,
Yeah.
But we have a lot of nuance that is different, and we should not be influencing one another. And that was the point of 50 states, is that each localized area gets to have its own values based on its culture, based on its resources, and we get to legislate ourselves based on that.
Yeah, but in a way, you guys are being hypocritical.
Fuck you,
because
Mike.
it's
Say no.
Mike.
Hang on. Devil's advocate. So we all like shooting, right? And you run a gun.
No, I just do it because I feel cool.
But you run a gun program. And so what is one of the tenets of your gun program?
Safety.
Safety. And I don't
Shoot
want
first.
people showing up drunk and doing this, right? So if your code was like, hey, man, freedom, 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 I want you to do whatever you do, and it's within your own responsibility not to do these things, like not drink and
Except
drive and kill
that
someone.
I believe in private property. And on my private property, you don't get to drink and shoot.
I am the fucking sayer of what happened. You know what I mean?
This guy.
The fact of the
Jordan
matter,
Sedong.
Yeah.
if somebody, if we like I said, if we bring everything that we truly believe into this gym, our core values, and we work off core values, and we say, hey, we want diversity, but we also want people to abide by our core values. And our core values are so basic to what the human condition is.
Yeah.
I want you to not want to injure somebody,
Yeah.
not hurt somebody, because I want you to hurt somebody. I want you to put people in uncomfortable situations, but I don't want you to take them
you're
out of.
fucking maiming.
I don't want
someone
you to
for the rest
maim
of their
somebody.
life.
I don't want
Yeah.
you to hurt them, right? So hurt them, don't injure them, right? I want you to work hard. I don't want you to come in here, be a lazy fuck, and sit back and
Go for a takeout.
Yes. I want you to be intelligent with how you're taking on the training.
Yeah.
I want you to understand we're trying to learn and we're going to progress.
Yeah.
These are core tenets that I want from everybody who comes to this gym. I think that is reflective of what Greg wants. I think that's what reflective of what you want,
Yeah.
what Tobin wants, what I want.
It's reflective of the culture at the gym.
It is a culture, and we have created this tribe, right?
Yeah.
It is not our duty or anything beyond that to tell another gym down the street what the fuck their culture is and how they should operate. And what a one world government is Gracie Baja going, this is what it is. And no offense to anybody who
This
goes
is
to
how
Gracie
we
Baja,
train,
but
so
this
this
is
is how you train.
this is the fucking McDojo, and take your fucking lines. This is what we do. This is how we operate. There's a special thing about having a localized civilization
Yeah.
and having the human condition and allowing that to operate within the space that you're in. And we have that here. And it's special and it's good and everybody likes it. And that's why we have an ability to have this cool situation.
Yeah.
And when you start taking that away and saying everybody's got to operate by these tenets, it's fucked up, because I want a place.
Yeah,
in,
but you're saying that
Mike, you're
one
talking
gym
about
is
taking away-
mandating. I'm saying, like, say this region, we have 5 gyms in this region, and we wanted a way of jiu-jitsu to be taught in these 5 different gyms. Now, it wasn't up to one gym to say this is the only way. We took those 5 gyms, and we let them all vote on what was the best way of maybe teaching jiu-jitsu.
why?
Because that's a council. That's a hierarchy.
Why not let the students vote with their dollars?
But that's what I mean. That's what the government of the people is. I'm saying a one world government
you mean it's a
of
competition?
the people.
It's a competition, because a vote is a competition.
Yeah, of everyone. It's everyone's
'Cause-
input.
But what if sometimes people vote for something not because it's functionality, but because of its optics.
It seems popular at the moment, is what you're saying.
But the functionality's fucked, but the optics look good.
But that's what a vote is. That's what our
So
president is.
allow function before form?
But isn't voting our number one freedom
Or
of
form before
representation?
function?
Yes.
Isn't voting freedom of representation?
it should be
because you're
local.
saying what you believe
Yes,
in.
but someone from the other side of the world should not be able to vote on matters that involve you.
We are
because they
so
have-
No,
far
I
away.
agree. I agree.
I don't want. Okay, so 9 or 5. We said 5 gyms in our area.
Yeah.
They tell us we can't do a podcast.
How about
No,
how about-
they
how
don't
about-
tell us
hang on.
we all vote
No,
together.
no, no.
How about a gym?
We vote.
How about
we
a
vo-
gym in Tajikistan?
So you're saying-
votes that Electric North Jiu-Jitsu?
But you guys are putting it like someone's against another.
They
Just
are.
the same way as if you vote for Trump or you
Very-
vote
well,
for
hang on,
Biden.
Various cultures clash. Like that's
Yeah,
why
yeah,
wars
yeah,
happen.
yeah.
So the Arabs don't like our culture. That's why Al Qaeda hates America. Is they don't
Yeah.
like our
You're
culture.
wearing shorts right now.
Yeah.
Offensive.
Yeah,
to people.
There's actually a good point. Is when I was working in Jerusalem with the CIA, Jen came and stayed with me before we were married, and so we went out on this. Jesus,
That's Al Qaeda.
hang on. We're not going to tell the listeners whose fart that was. You guys don't have to guess.
It's me.
Y'all know.
Oh my god.
We're going on what 3-4 hours now.
It's like a first date. He's been holding that one for an hour.
I
and a
don't
half.
think we solved any problems.
Goddamn,
We've
no, we
created
did
more
not.
questions.
No, we
All-
did not.
all
So
I'm
anyway,
saying
Jen
is-
and I went walking around Jerusalem, the old city Jerusalem, and there were when you
Where
get,
Jesus was born?
Yes. Well, no, he was born in Bethlehem, supposedly. But anyway,
I thought he got put in a manger. He got left in a horse stall there.
supposedly. Jordan.
Jordan's cracking me up, dude. I can't.
That's on me. That's on me. That's on me. I'm sorry.
Oh, this is out of control.
So there's 4 quarters. There's quarters to the old city. You have the Christian, the Arab, the Jewish, and the Armenian quarter. And so we accidentally wandered into the Muslim quarter of the old city, and Jen was wearing capri pants and a tank top. And immediately you could tell that people were like, we were getting the stink eye, and I was starting to like, kind of like sneak my hand under my shirt onto my Glock.
Yeah.
And because it was getting that hostile, and it was like,
dicey.
holy shit. I was like, fuck, we're in the Arab quarter. We need to get the fuck out. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the reality is,
I like that.
yeah, some cultures don't like the way you live.
Yeah,
And so giving them a vote in, I don't think a one world government works. I know we're supposed to be talking about Donald
'Cause
Trump here, but a
here-
one world government doesn't work because there's so many different cultures. And honestly, I don't want cultures rubbed out of the world. I don't want a one world culture. I like the different cultures. Jordan's shaking his finger at me. He's fucking making violent actions towards
That's
me.
it.
Say it.
I agree. I don't want to see the people who hated you. I don't want to see them leave.
Yeah, no, they should live their life the way they see fit
And-
in their little portion of the
I don't
world.
want to see
Yes.
them leave, but I want to see everyone get together.
I don't want to see them get together.
I
You want to know why I don't want to see them get together?
Because then they might try to impose their way of life on you.
No, because of food.
For-
Because they
Yeah,
have good
that's
fucking
right.
food.
Yeah, but
and we no. We will have a different food. My food is gonna taste different than their food. I guarantee fucking to you.
Do you go to pho restaurants?
Oh, yeah.
No,
you
rarely,
like-
rarely,
What?
because fuck those motherfuckers. You know what I'm saying?
Oh, Vietnamese
No,
food is so good.
Do you like the little sandwiches?
I've never had.
Yes,
Wait,
the-
you go to a Vietnamese restaurant and get a sandwich?
You've
Yeah,
never had
the
a
banh mi,
oh,
banh mi
my
sandwich?
gosh, they're so good with
Really?
the carrots, little thin
Yeah.
carrots on there.
Well, you know why that sandwich is so good? Is because the French
It's made with the
invaded
blood of Vietnamese
Vietnam.
people.
Yeah.
And the French
And they
put
said,
baguettes
"We got
in
some-"
Vietnam. And the baguette has crossed over lines of international war, trade, conflict.
Yep.
And it's become part of
You know
culture.
what? If you,
So-
if you keep talking about one world government, I'm going to put a baguette in you.
Could you imagine? Could you imagine if that was not a thing that was allowed to happen?
Yeah.
because there was no difference.
But cultural sexes happen throughout the world.
Thank God there was a situation where people were eating baguettes and people were eating Szechuan chickens and stuff.
Szechuan chicken. Is that a breed?
Szechuan is Chinese, right? Szechuan China.
You know what I'm saying?
Oh, I was about to say something racist. I'm going to hold that one in.
I think I did it. My bad. Sorry,
Holy
kids,
shit.
because one day my kids will listen to this and they'll go,
Oh, my God.
All right.
Dad's a piece of shit.
This podcast is all out of control. Let's take a quick break. We're going to do a quick
Are we
analysis.
coming back or are we just calling it at
Nope,
the end?
we're coming back
Son of a bitch.
for one last point, and then we're done. We're
All
out of
right,
here.
pee break.
Hey,
All right.
hold on, guys. Are you kidding me? You know what? I want differences. And I want people to be able to move past them, right? So that is a special thing to have cultures that you're happy with how you can interact with somebody, right?
Mm-hmm.
Why?
Just because I get to be me and I don't have to feel like I have to do something that I
Oh,
don't
man.
want.
So imagine
Do you
the
feel-
culture in which we had a bunch of groupthink and political correctness and newspeak, and you had to speak in a certain way or else you would offend somebody, which is kind of where we're headed anyway.
That's
But
what.
it's sort of
Yeah,
like
we're already there.
the people who are pushing for globalism are pushing for control.
But I'm not pushing for globalism as elites leading us. I'm trying to say
You want the
what is the
people.
best
The
way to
people can
unify
say.
the group. Just a way as if
Yeah,
we were tired of Greg and I said, let's have the people revolt. Would that be better at
Dude,
this gym? Would it be better?
I'm drinking beer on his mat right now.
Okay, yeah, and I'm talking about overthrowing our president.
We have revolted, my man. We are revolting currently, and you know what? Here I am. I got fucking 4, 6, 7 bottles around me right now. We've revolted. The thing is if you were to take everybody's idea and said, "This is it. This is where we're going to have one vote and one vote only."
You could also
I'm not going
to
I'm never going to trust that vote. I'm never going to trust the fact that like all these people, these 300 fucking 100,000 people or whatever the world, what's the world population?
God, I don't
7 to 8 billion.
billion
right now?
would it be? And I actually think
How many?
7 to 8 billion.
7 to 8 billion. Have you played telephone with 20 people?
Yeah. So things
Has that
get
worked
lost
out?
in communication.
What the fuck do you think that's going to happen with 7 to 8 billion people?
Not
Yeah,
to
but
mention, in
there's
some
certain-
of these remote areas, there's dialects that aren't even recorded. Like we went
Oh,
up into
yeah.
northern Afghanistan. It's
What
like
about-
nobody even knows what they're speaking.
But if you
The
went
people in the Amazon.
But if you went to people and you're like, "Hey man, do you think your mother should live? Do you think your wife has the right to live?"
Stop it.
Hang on.
Because
Women-
human condition tells you want your family to do okay.
Yeah.
You want your lineage.
yeah.
Human biology, which is what is going on, that's what's happening, and that's what we're fighting in America right now. Human biology says, I want my lineage to
continue.
So human biology is saying, don't let this weird man is not a man, woman's a woman.
Yeah, but also
That-
you're getting your Bill of Rights now. So if you're saying I want my mom to
Stop
live,
it. Bill
No.
of Rights is American.
Yeah, but I'm saying for a one world government. If you're saying I want my daughter to live, I want my mother to live, I want my sister to live, what you're saying is that people have inalienable rights to enjoy this life. So if someone starts to persecute that or snuff it out, well, now you're going against this human narrative that the people have voted on. This one world government where we say certain things are inalienable rights,
But
like
some people
life.
don't believe that.
You know what? I don't think that.
There's entire cultures that don't believe that.
But do you think that would be outvoted in the
I think
world?
weak
I don't
people
know. But
should
here's
die.
the other thing: is how do you expect to have a one world government that doesn't end in massive revolt? Because there's no way that one entity can represent that many people and do it correctly. It's
But
not
could you
fucking
ever
possible.
blame the government if the people are voting on it?
Yes, because
If every
there's
bill
so
is
many,
up to
there's
the people.
There's so many.
What options do I
hands in
have?
the pot.
What options do I have? Am I gonna have to ask the government?
That would devolve into civil
do,
war.
do,
No,
do I have to
no.
ask the
Fairly
government
quickly.
to what options can I vote?
No, you can write whatever you want. It could be popular
so,
vote.
So you'd end up with like 1,000
So
different
how many
opinions.
people are gonna?
Yeah, so what's the one that is
Who's gonna read the opinion?
the Reddit?
But then what about the
who's
entire
gonna read the
region that is
opinions?
unhappy about that?
Fuck
that
you,
revolts?
Yeah, but that's Reddit. That's Reddit. Like the best ideas rise to the top.
Do they, or is
Instant representation?
is that truly what happens on Reddit?
The best, yeah, for the most part.
So Reddit should be the one where government.
No, but if
That
you
little alien fuck.
look, no, but it's where if you want to get the best ideas and you want to get the newest ideas and you want to get groundbreaking ideas, I'm not going to go to the old council and say, what do you think is a good idea? And they go, well, jobs are the number one thing in this economy. And you say the same things. I'm looking for something
Here's the
different.
deal, dude. If I am in the mountains, if I'm in the mountains and I'm camping,
Yeah.
what am I wearing?
Oh God, yeah.
Heavy
Okay.
clothes.
Yes. What's on underwear?
They're heavy clothes. But if I'm in the plains,
Underwear?
if I'm on
Hang
the
on.
fucking beach, I'm wearing shorts. So
T-shirt?
we
No
start
shirt?
like, well, what I'm trying to say is
Do you wax your chest if you go to the beach?
never, don't ever wax your chest, guys. Shave it. Cuts down on friction and cost.
You swim
So-
faster.
Yeah. So what I'm saying is like there's a certain like there's a difference in where you're at and what you need. And all of a sudden you go, "Hey, I'm cold, so I'm going to borrow my buddy's fucking sweatshirt on the beach." Right? Because, you know, my buddy on the beach is like, it gets cold on the beach, but I'm not going to kill my buddy for his sweatshirt. But I'm going to borrow it. I'm going to take it, and he's going to be somewhat okay with that. But I go up to the mountains, and I take my buddy's sweatshirt, and that's what we need to survive. So I just took my buddy's sweatshirt, and it's okay for me to steal it on the beach, but if I steal it in the mountains, I killed my buddy.
So
now-
technically you stole no matter what. It doesn't matter what your circumstance is. You crossed a covenant line.
Is that a line? Because it's different. Because if I steal my buddy's fucking sweatshirt on the fucking mountains, I killed him. And if I
Yeah.
steal it on the beach,
He's fine.
he's got to be cold.
And if you
Yeah,
look
yeah,
at the
yeah.
microcosm of Washington State, all the people in Seattle control the vote. And
But-
stealing is okay in Seattle.
Yeah,
Like,
you went to property rights
you can
once
walk-
again.
You
Yeah.
can walk into a Walgreens or a Safeway in Seattle and take whatever you want, and that's perfectly legal.
But
Or
are
it's
the
not
majority of
prosecuted.
Washingtonians saying that's okay?
No.
Or is the government
Well, hang
saying
on. The,
No.
the majority is because the majority is in Seattle. The rest of Washington State is fucking pissed.
Yeah, because the amount of people that
Are
live on
they
the fucking
saying
coast,
it's
the amount of
okay,
the
though?
amount of the
They
people
are.
that live on the coast
or
are much higher,
representatives?
much higher.
Well, they're voting for those representatives.
Yeah.
So you wanted a one world vote.
See, but this is
So
the
if the
thing. The
population
people are
centers-
voting based off of the representatives. If there was no representative to say what is right or wrong, and they say, hey, do you think stealing should be legal or illegal? Everyone vote. Do you think the majority of the people would be like, steal away, take my property, take the food I grow in my yard, take my business of what I do?
Okay.
No, those people live in this world just like you and I do.
Dude.
Because someone else in the government says it's okay or this
I-
law.
there is
You're
there is a difference between me borrowing your shoes and me borrowing your shoes in the mountains.
Yeah.
We're on the coast, and we are in the mountains of, Washington. There's a huge difference of me borrowing your fucking flip-flops, not even stealing them, borrowing them. You cannot move up there. You can move in the sands,
Yeah.
right? So there's a difference in that, and that's what I'm trying to say is like there's a difference in what your necessities are different everywhere. So that it's going to create a culture of, I need this. This is important. This is less important here.
So does this tie into like all the stealing that's been happening post-COVID?
Not even stealing.
So how does that work though? I mean, I'm trying to tie that in.
No, what I was saying
Trump
is that,
2024.
so
That's what I'm trying to say.
we're over the 2-hour mark. Jordan and I are going to murder Mike Kozak. And tune in next week for the Jordan and Tobin show. I hope you guys all enjoyed this episode.
Yeah, Mike's
and
dead.
We will catch you in next week.
Thanks for having me for the last 3 weeks, guys.